Chapter 3441, This trip was worth it. Supu leapt into the gap, and waves of enormous auras surged out from it, exploding in the air one after another. The divine runes in the sky flashed and glowed, like countless small suns illuminating the surroundings. Lin Moyu looked at the divine rune formation in the sky, combining it with the divine rune formation on the ground for comprehensive analysis. With the ancient divine rune formations as reference, Lin Moyu gained a lot of experience, much better than fumbling on his own. His understanding of divine runes rapidly improved at this moment. In just a few minutes, he gained more than he would have from a day of comprehension on his own. This included how divine runes could be used and combined with each other, how to make each divine rune play its role, and how they could enhance each other. A large amount of comprehension flooded his mind in a short time, drilling into his soul and leaving a deep imprint. Gradually, Lin Moyu's eyes grew brighter. He discovered that divine runes, in a sense, were similar to Tao patterns. Tao patterns would resonate with each other and amplify each other. The more Tao patterns, the stronger the amplification. Using 2 Tao patterns to enhance a technique, when you have 10 Tao patterns, the effect of these 2 Tao patterns is 1. But when you have 20 Tao patterns, the effect of the 2 Tao patterns might be 2 or even 3. Divine runes had a similar effect. In a divine rune formation, the more divine runes there were, the more closely they worked together, the stronger they amplified each other, and the better the effect of the divine rune formation. The same divine rune formation built with 100 divine runes versus 200 divine runes would have vastly different effects. However, the more divine runes used, the higher the requirements for the formation maker. It wasn't a matter of using as many as you wanted. Sometimes using too many could lead to the collapse of the entire divine rune formation if not handled properly. Various insights came in rapid succession. Lin Moyu stood there motionless, almost forgetting that Supu was fighting in the gap, and forgetting that he was in Nine Heaven's Peak, which wasn't safe. At this moment, in his vision there were only divine runes, nothing else. He wasn't simply learning about divine runes, but comprehending their essence. If I'm not mistaken, divine runes should have evolved from Tao patterns. They have too many similarities with Tao patterns. If so, could I also use Tao patterns to set up formations? Lin Moyu felt he might be thinking too wildly. Using Tao patterns to set up formations was something no one had ever done before. But he also gained an insight from this: divine runes may be many, but they still need to maintain balance. Using Tao patterns to enhance techniques, one very important point is balance. The same is true for divine runes. This trip was worth it. What a great place, Lin Moyu murmured, obvious excitement in his eyes. When he came back to his senses, a long time had passed. Supu had already returned, holding a broken sword in his hand. This sword was badly broken, with most of the hilt gone, leaving less than a palm's length. The blade had many cracks. Even in this state, its power was no weaker than a 7th level Tao Venerable, and it would actively attack. It had no spirit at all, but would attack anyone who approached. Taking the broken sword from Supu's hand, Lin Moyu murmured, broken like this, yet still able to attack. Remarkable. If it were an ordinary treasure, it would have collapsed long ago. The cloud-piercing sword seems intact, with its spirit still there, but it fell from 9th level Tao Venerable to 7th level. If this sword were intact, it would likely far surpass 9th level Tao Venerable. Lin Moyu could roughly determine that this sword's level was at least Great Tao Realm. Only a Great Tao Realm treasure could possibly be like this. He put it into his storage space, leapt over the gap, and continued upwards. Walking less than 100 meters, Lin Moyu saw many pits on the ground, as if someone had punched it. There were countless pits, but the divine rune formation on the ground was still intact. How were these pits created? Looking carefully, the ground was slowly recovering. In just a minute, the pitted areas returned to normal, showing no trace of damage. This situation made Lin Moyu alert. For this to happen, it meant this place had just been attacked. Lin Moyu looked around. I don't sense any power residue. The ones who attacked here weren't those elders. If not those elders, then it must be something that exists within Nine Heaven's Peak itself. Suddenly, numerous divine runes lit up in the sky. Streams of divine runes separated from the formation, turning into colorful clouds swirling in the sky. The next second, countless fists fell from the colorful clouds, like raindrops towards the ground. Lin Moyu quickly retreated, not meeting the fists head-on. The fists landed on the ground, creating large areas of pits. Lin Moyu finally knew where the pits came from. The colorful clouds existed for just a moment before disappearing without a trace. The pitted areas they created also began to recover. Lin Moyu looked for a while and roughly understood what was happening. The divine rune formation here had problems. The colorful clouds came from the divine rune formation and had probably once blocked enemies here. After the great battle ended, the divine rune formation was damaged, and the colorful clouds would occasionally manifest and attack this area. Lin Moyu watched another wave of colorful clouds, calculated the interval between them, and quickly moved upwards after the clouds disappeared. But as soon as he stepped into that area, the just disappeared colorful clouds appeared again. Numerous fists fell from above. Lin Moyu had no choice but to retreat. Although the formation was damaged, it had still firmly guarded this area for countless years, not letting anyone approach. For Lin Moyu to pass through, he would either have to force his way through or find a way around. These fists seemed not strong, but each punch was much stronger than an 8th level Dao Venerable, almost reaching the level of a 9th level Dao Venerable. There were many ways to force through, such as having Supu clear the way. However, Lin Moyu didn't want to do this. This is a good opportunity. Lin Moyu looked at the divine rune formation evolving the colorful clouds. He could see that the divine rune formation was damaged. He planned to repair it. For him, this was a considerable challenge, and also his first intimate contact with a divine rune formation. Whether he could do it or not, Lin Moyu wasn't sure. But since he encountered it, it would be a shame to just walk away. The process of repairing the formation was also a process of familiarizing himself with divine runes, and also a process of familiarizing himself with the entire Nine Heavens Peak formation. Lin Moyu felt that familiarizing himself with the Nine Heavens Peak formation would be extremely important for him to reach the peak. Nine Heavens Peak would open for a month each time, so he wasn't in a hurry. He began to study this formation. When no one entered the attack range, colorful clouds would evolve every few minutes, each time attacking for several minutes. The interval varied, from 2 minutes at the longest to 1 minute at the shortest, always changing within this range. Once someone stepped into the attack range, the colorful clouds would appear immediately and attack. Lin Moyu had Supu try it out. The attack would continue for a long time and wouldn't retreat on its own. Only when Supu retreated would the colorful clouds disappear. Lin Moyu had Supu act as bait several times, deliberately triggering the formation to allow him to observe. Verifying with what he had learned, constantly simulating in his mind, he slowly arrived at the correct answer. He crushed 8th grade premium origin crystals into powder, fused it with soul power to make ink, and began to draw divine runes. This was his first time formally drawing divine runes. Lin Moyu drew carefully, striving for stability. With extensive experience in drawing runes, he succeeded in drawing the more complex divine runes on his first try. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3442, 3442. Chapter 3442, Peering into Nine Heavens Peaks formation. A delicate, brand new divine rune appeared at Lin Moyu's fingertip. Looking at the divine rune he had drawn himself, his eyes revealed delight. The experience with runes is so important. If I hadn't drawn a large number of runes before, it would have been almost impossible to succeed on the first try. Divine runes are more complex than regular runes, requiring long-term practice to draw smoothly. Even Lin Moyu relied on his experience with runes as a foundation. Now that the divine rune was drawn, the next step was verification. With a flick of his finger, the divine rune automatically flew out towards the divine rune formation in the air. Its appearance didn't trigger a counterattack from the divine rune formation. The colorful clouds didn't appear. Until the divine rune flew into the formation, successfully merging with it, this divine rune formation flashed with light, becoming a bit more complete than before. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, if I haven't misjudged, its interval time should become longer. Next was waiting. After waiting for 3 minutes, the colorful clouds appeared again, transforming into fists falling down. As Lin Moyu had judged, the interval time had lengthened, which meant the divine rune had taken effect. Lin Moyu hadn't made a mistake. Lin Moyu then drew more divine runes, merging each one into the formation after drawing it, observing the changes in the formation. Time after time, each change in the formation was very close to what he had predicted. After half a day, a total of over 20 divine runes had been added to the formation. This formation composed of over 100 divine runes was finally completely restored. Lin Moyu had Supu try it out. The divine rune formation didn't actively launch an attack. And it also wouldn't launch attacks as time passed. It's done. Lin Moyu's eyes gleamed with joy, extremely satisfied with the results of his first repair of a divine rune formation. This formation has no master, but it's connected to the entire Nine Heavens Peaks formation. Perhaps I can peek through it. Lin Moyu had a thought. His soul power extended out like threads, drilling into this formation. Because some of the divine runes in the formation were drawn by Lin Moyu himself, this formation had already been imbued with Lin Moyu's aura. Lin Moyu's soul power very smoothly explored inside. Lin Moyu successfully glimpsed the entire picture of the formation, more intuitive and vivid than observing from the outside. Most importantly, this formation was connected to Nine Heavens Peaks formation. Lin Moyu tried to peer into Nine Heavens Peaks formation through it. In the past, this would have been impossible. But now it wasn't impossible. The origin catastrophe had ended, and Nine Heavens Peaks formation had lost its controller. It was in an automatic operation state. Lin Moyu's idea wasn't without a chance of success. Lin Moyu precisely controlled his soul power, trying again and again, until he finally found the connection point. He followed the connection point, gradually infiltrating into Nine Heavens Peaks formation. In an instant, he saw the internal space of the formation. Countless divine runes flashed before his eyes. At this moment, Lin Moyu seemed to be in the starry sky, each divine rune like a planet. Nine Heavens Peaks formation was three-dimensional, and a very complex three-dimensional form at that. From outside to inside, it had at least several layers of structure. Each layer, if taken out separately, was an independent formation group. Goodness, this is a large formation composed of over 10 formation groups. The formation masters from prehistoric times were actually this powerful. The scene before his eyes was truly breathtaking. Even Lin Moyu was a bit shocked at this moment. In the current era, formation masters were already rare enough. Formation masters who could set up giant formation groups were even rarer, countable on one hand. To combine several formation groups and turn them into one large formation was something one wouldn't dare to dream of. Its complexity was enough to drive formation masters mad. Even Lin Moyu had never thought about combining formation groups together. Thinking back, when he had set up formation groups before, he had been a bit smug. But now, all that pride was thrown away. Lin Moyu realized he was still far, far behind. He was still a long distance from the formation Great Tao. Now, seeing the work of a prehistoric formation grandmaster was like a bright lamp in the darkness, pointing out the direction forward for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu knew how he should proceed on his future path of formations, how he could go further. He admired this incredibly complex formation, becoming fascinated by it, while also peering into the entire Nine Heavens Peak through this formation. Nine Heavens Peak was indeed a terrifying war fortress. It stood between heaven and earth, reaching up to the outer Great Tao above and down to the origin spirit veins below. Through the formation, one could see that at least 3 origin spirit veins had once provided power for it, and these 3 origin spirit veins were very likely 9th grade origin spirit veins. At the same time, the outer Great Tao was also providing power for it. The entire Nine Heavens Peak could use the power of the outer Great Tao to release powerful attacks. There was one formation that clearly connected to the outer Great Tao, but unfortunately, this formation had been badly damaged. Now not even half of it remained. Back then, it must have been this formation connecting to the outer Great Tao that was damaged. Otherwise, with Nine Heavens Peak borrowing the power of the outer Great Tao, it wouldn't have been damaged. Although the ancient battle couldn't be seen, many issues could be analyzed through the formation. Lin Moyu examined, learned, and analyzed bit by bit, gaining more and more information. Gradually, he figured out his current position. He was still some distance from the former peak and needed to continue climbing. At the same time, he also knew how to proceed to the peak. In the past, to go to the peak, one could directly teleport up or ride the light strips. But now the formation controlling the light strips had problems and could no longer be used to reach the peak. The teleportation formation to the peak had also been destroyed. To reach the peak, one could only advance along the mountain path. Lin Moyu memorized the correct route through the formation. After completely memorizing this incredibly complex divine rune formation, he reluctantly withdrew. His fingertip waved in the void, drawing divine runes. Soon, an exquisite divine rune flew from his fingertip, circled in the air, then fell on Lin Moyu. A pair of transparent wings immediately grew on Lin Moyu's back. The wings fluttered, and Lin Moyu flew up. Flying wasn't allowed in Nine Heaven's Peak, but there were exceptions. One could get special permission through the formation. This point was unknown to anyone. Lin Moyu had just discovered the method for special permission while observing the formation. The method for special permission was through divine runes. By turning divine runes into wings, one could fly freely in Nine Heaven's Peak. Once able to fly, the climbing speed could be much faster. Putting away Supu, following the route he had memorized earlier, Lin Moyu quickly flew towards the peak. Nine Heaven's Peak was very high. Even flying, he would need to fly for quite some time. He flew along the route, gradually approaching the peak. After flying over 10,000 meters in one go, Lin Moyu slowly stopped. A statue appeared ahead. The statue should have originally been a warrior in armor, but it was partly broken, missing its head and left arm. Looking at the formation, one must defeat this puppet to continue forward. When observing the formation earlier, Lin Moyu had noticed that the formation here had problems. The formation controlled a puppet guarding here, preventing anyone from advancing. And this formation was too badly damaged to be repaired. It could only be forced through. Lin Moyu struck first, pointing his finger. The skeleton hell automatically appeared, enveloping the puppet. The puppet was instantly activated. A broken divine rune formation appeared above its head. The puppet immediately moved, swinging a large blade in its hand, slashing out countless blade lights. Over 100 hell fiends that had just approached were instantly cut to pieces. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3443, 3443. Chapter 3443, Learning, Trying, Understanding. The puppet's power was beyond imagination. Lin Moyu knew this puppet was very powerful when observing the formation, but he didn't expect it to be this strong. Even though it had lost its head and one arm, and the divine rune formation controlling it was damaged by more than half, its power had weakened by at least half. But looking at it now, it still possessed peak 9th level Dao Venerable combat power. Could it be that at its peak, it could rival a great Dao realm being? If that's true, the technology in puppet refining in prehistoric times is beyond imagination. Puppets can also be considered a part of artifact refining. Most modern artifact refiners can also make puppets. But at most they can only create 3rd level Dao Venerable puppets. Even 4th level Dao Venerable puppets are difficult to refine. Compared to the puppet before him, the difference was countless miles. Hell fiends pounced from all directions, all cut to pieces by the puppet. The puppet moved incredibly fast, wielding a large blade made of unknown material, dancing so densely that the hell fiends could hardly approach. In an instant, the spider lilies swayed non-stop, scattering tens of thousands of blue lights, but the puppet had no reaction in the blue light. Its power, reactions, and speed didn't weaken at all. The spider lily's weakening effect was ineffective, which also surprised Lin Moyu. It was the first time he had seen the spider lilies fail. Lin Moyu observed the changes in the puppet. Above the puppet, the divine rune formation continued to operate, shining brightly in the world of skeleton hell. The divine rune formation scattered light, forming a barrier that isolated the power of the spider lilies. This divine rune formation is the source of the puppet's power. At the same time, it also protects the puppet. Originally it shouldn't have been revealed, but because it's broken, it's now visible. Accompanied by a dragon's roar, black hell rushed out from the netherworld black pool, opening its mouth to bite at the puppet. The puppet swung its large blade and battled with black hell. Black hell bit frantically, its sharp teeth serving as both weapon and shield. Black hell used its teeth and dragon scales to hard block the puppet's attacks. The puppet was too agile, its speed as fast as lightning. Even black hell found it difficult to catch. The two seemed evenly matched, but the hell fiends rushing over were still being slaughtered by the large blade. Lin Moyu had a thought. Supu rushed out from beside him to join the battle, while the hell fiends quickly retreated. They couldn't participate in this fight. Supu and Black Hell joined forces to deal with the puppet, gradually suppressing it. Black Hell bit down on the puppet, making a harsh sound. The puppet was incredibly solid. Black Hell couldn't bite through with one bite. Supu stabbed the cloud-piercing sword into the puppet, but the cloud-piercing sword was also repelled. The puppet's body glowed with golden light, its defense power astonishingly strong. The puppet's powerful defense also came from the divine rune formation. Lin Moyu looked at the divine rune formation. It seems we still need to start with the formation. Trying to defeat the puppet with brute force seems a bit lacking. It wasn't impossible to defeat the puppet with brute force, but it would require at least pseudo-Great Dao Realm combat power. Neither Black Hell nor Supu were quite there yet. Fortunately, they could suppress the puppet, buying time for Lin Moyu to break the divine rune formation. Although this divine rune formation is already more than half destroyed, it can still operate normally. The main reason is that the core divine runes are still intact. The remaining divine runes continue to provide the puppet with considerable power and defense. So I either need to control this formation or weaken it in reverse. Lin Moyu carefully observed, his mind racing, simulating various possibilities. After a moment, Lin Moyu made a decision. This divine rune formation was of an extremely high level, already beyond his ability range. Trying to control this formation was impossible. He could only think of ways to weaken it from the side. As long as he could weaken the formation, he could weaken the puppet. Doing it this way would be a bit simpler. Having made a decision, Lin Moyu began to draw divine runes. One by one, divine runes flew out and merged into the formation. With his previous experience, Lin Moyu's understanding of divine runes had deepened. The divine runes he drew merged into the divine rune formation without any problems. These divine runes made the entire formation's operation less smooth. The puppet's power and speed immediately slowed down. The divine runes Lin Moyu drew were all opposite to those in the divine rune formation. However, the quality of Lin Moyu's divine runes wasn't very good, and their level wasn't high enough. They could only restrict part of it, and couldn't last long. Black Hell and Supu seized the opportunity to launch a fierce attack on the puppet. The powerful battle aftershocks forced Lin Moyu to retreat some distance. Nine Heavens Peaks formation continued to operate, absorbing the aftershocks cleanly, making the area affected by the battle extremely small, barely exceeding 100 meters. Lin Moyu's divine runes took effect. The golden light on the puppet's body began to gradually weaken, and Black Hell and Supu's attacks began to have an effect on it. Before long, they would be able to kill the puppet. At this time, Lin Moyu looked at Nine Heavens Peaks formation. All the battle aftershocks are being absorbed by the formation. Earlier outside, the formation was also absorbing power. Now inside Nine Heavens Peak, the formation is still absorbing power. What is it doing with all this absorbed power? It's really strange. Lin Moyu didn't quite understand this approach, but since the formation was doing this, there must be a reason. The person who set up this formation back then was very skilled. Some of their ideas were beyond what he could imagine. The puppet was finally defeated under the joint attack of Black Hell and Supu, turning into a pile of fragments on the ground. The Hell Fiends all pounced over, beginning to feast. The materials used to refine the puppet were all top tier, great supplements for skeleton hell. The divine rune formation disturbed by Lin Moyu gradually disappeared. It no longer had a puppet to control, so it lost its function. Lin Moyu looked up at the path behind the puppet. There used to be many battle traces here. The mountain path had been beaten beyond recognition. There should have been many puppets here before. The vast majority were destroyed in battle, leaving only this broken one at the end. Putting away Supu and Skeleton Hell, Lin Moyu continued upwards, summarizing his previous experiences at the same time. Each use of divine runes was an opportunity for self-improvement. Learning, trying, summarizing, Lin Moyu's understanding of divine runes continuously improved. There were many paths upward, constantly forking, but only one path led to the peak. If one took the wrong path, they wouldn't reach the peak but end up somewhere else. Through observing the formation, Lin Moyu knew that Nine Heavens Peak's structure was extremely complex, like an ant nest. If one couldn't find the correct path, it would be like entering a maze. Lin Moyu changed directions again and again, choosing the correct path. As for the light strips overhead, he didn't choose them. Fortunately, the road ahead was quite peaceful. He didn't encounter any more troubles. Lin Moyu was getting closer and closer to the mountaintop. The mist around him gradually became thicker. Lin Moyu knew he had entered the cloud layer. Nine Heavens Peak was too high, with a large part hidden in the clouds. Suddenly, an enormous power came from not far away. Howling winds blew, dispersing the mist. Lin Moyu's body was also blown back. Lin Moyu saw that just over 200 meters away, an 8th level elder was standing there. He seemed to have just experienced a battle. In his hand, he held an obviously broken treasure. The 8th level elder's face clearly showed joy. Evidently, this treasure was quite good. After putting away the treasure, he looked towards Lin Moyu, his face showing slight emotion. Son of Yin. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3444, 3444. Chapter 3444, Gale Elder, Misfortune Befalls. The yin talisman on Lin Moyu's brow was still flashing with light. Even 9 Heavens Peaks formation couldn't block the power of the yin origin. As the two great origin powers of the origin continent, the yin origin and yang origin had absolute dominance. Lin Moyu recalled the other person's identity. He was from a 6-star sect called Gale Sect on Riftwind Cliff. When Dongfang Wuding introduced him earlier, he mentioned this person was called Gale Elder and seemed to have some connection to the Wu family. Gale Elder looked at Lin Moyu, his gaze somewhat complex. Then his expression turned surprised as he discovered Lin Moyu wasn't standing on the ground, but flying in midair. A pair of light wings on his back was quite eye-catching. He asked in a low voice, "Son of Yin, how are you able to fly here?" His tone wasn't very polite. After all, he was an 8th level elder, while Lin Moyu was just a 5th level Dao Venerable Jr. There was no need for politeness. As for the identity of Son of Yin, to beings like him, it was just a tool. Lin Moyu said, "I naturally have my methods to fly. It seems I don't need to tell Elder." Gale Elder's expression changed slightly. "Do you know who you're talking to?" Lin Moyu said, "The Gale Elder of Gale Sect, a 6-star power under the Wu family of Riftwind Cliff." "Am I wrong?" Gale Elder snorted coldly. "Good that you know. This old man is an 8th level Dao Venerable. You, a mere 5th level Dao Venerable Jr., dare to speak to this old man like this." Lin Moyu chuckled lightly. "No need to flaunt your status before me. Even Elder Wuding treats me as an equal. Who are you? I have matters to attend to, so I won't keep you company." Lin Moyu flapped his wings, continuing towards the mountain peak. Suddenly a gale blew, forcibly pushing him back dozens of meters. Gale Elder shouted lowly, "Disrespectful Junior, did this old man say you could leave?" Lin Moyu looked at him. "Are you sure you want to cause trouble?" Gale Elder said in a low voice, "You can fly here, so you must have obtained some treasure, right? Hand it over, and this old man won't hold it against you." Lin Moyu sneered, "Isn't this just seeing something valuable and wanting to rob it? If you want to rob, just say so. But I'm very curious, who gave you the courage? You've also seen my relationship with Elder Wuding. Aren't you afraid he'll come after you when we leave?" Gale Elder chuckled lightly. "This old man isn't from the Broken Sky domain. Dongfang Wuding won't come to Riftwind Cliff to find me. But you've reminded this old man. To avoid unnecessary trouble, it's better to kill you." Lin Moyu laughed lightly. "Ah, failed at robbery, so now planning to kill." Gale Elder said, "Of course I don't have to kill you. As long as you swear a great Dao oath to obediently come back to Gale Sect with me after leaving 9 Heavens Peak, this old man can spare your life." In the end, he not only wanted the treasure but also wanted Lin Moyu himself. The identity of Son of Yin was enough to greatly increase Gale Sect's fortune. With the boost of strong fortune, Gale Elder might be able to break through to the 9th level of Dao Venerable. Although under the Wu family's pressure, Gale Sect was unlikely to become a 7-star power. For Gale Elder, the temptation of 9th level Dao Venerable was incredibly great. Wisps of mist appeared in Lin Moyu's eyes. He saw Gale Elder's fortune, which had turned into a dense black color, already becoming misfortune. Such strong misfortune. Lin Moyu was slightly stunned. With such powerful misfortune, Gale Elder was bound to face great calamity. Even if he let him go now, he wouldn't live much longer. He might die at any moment. But as an 8th level elder, and the patriarch of Gale Sect, his fortune was tied to Gale Sect's. His fortune shouldn't be this bad. If even he had such misfortune, Gale Sect would likely suffer even worse. Moreover, if he had such misfortune before, he probably would have met with trouble as soon as he entered 9 Heavens Peak. That puppet Lin Moyu encountered could have easily killed him. This meant his misfortune appeared after entering 9 Heavens Peak. Lin Moyu saw the broken treasure still in Gale Elder's hand. This broken treasure looked like half a skull, completely black in color. Could it be that this treasure turned his fortune into its current state? If so, this treasure must either be a fortune treasure or contain some kind of heaven-defying curse. Whichever it is, he's doomed anyway. Lin Moyu's gaze changed from disdain to pity. He truly felt Gale Elder was somewhat pitiful. Misfortune befalling one could even affect a person's thinking, making them do things they shouldn't. Gale Elder urged, "Have you considered clearly? Do you plan to be killed by this old man, or obediently swear a great Tao oath and come back with me?" There was nowhere to escape in Nine Heavens Peak. Gale Elder felt he had Lin Moyu cornered. As he said these words, Lin Moyu noticed his misfortune grew even heavier. A path to death. Lin Moyu sighed lightly. With a point of his finger, accompanied by spatial distortions, skeleton hell had already enveloped Gale Elder. Volcanoes erupted, hell fiends rushing out from the lava towards Gale Elder. "What are these things? Get away from this old man!" Gale Elder roared angrily. The power of an 8th-level Tao Venerable erupted, countless gales sweeping out, blowing away the first batch of hell fiends. However, after this, more hell fiends pounced on him. Lin Moyu sighed lightly, "Gales can't disperse misfortune. Your death is sealed, let me send you on your way." More and more hell fiends came. The gales blew away some, but couldn't disperse them all. A great Tao of howling gales appeared. Tornadoes rose in skeleton hell, a storm descending with a boom. Gale Elder evolved his great Tao true body, transforming into a gale giant. Around him, sand and stones flew, lava rolled up towards the sky, exploding in the air. Hell fiends were blown away by the gales, unable to approach. An 8th-level Elder's strength wasn't weak. At least in the short term, the hell fiends couldn't do anything to him. However, he also couldn't break out of skeleton hell. Death was already certain. Accompanied by dragon roars, black hell rushed out. Its speed was as fast as lightning, its huge body directly crashing into Gale Elder. Gale Elder screamed miserably, his great Tao true body almost scattered. The gales instantly weakened significantly. Black Hell's attacks were continuous, instantly suppressing Gale Elder, leaving him no power to counterattack. Lin Moyu saw Gale Elder's misfortune growing heavier and heavier, not far from death. Under such misfortune, I'm afraid Gale sect will also be affected. Those disciples in Gale sect are probably in trouble now. With his understanding of fortune, Gale sect definitely couldn't escape unscathed. Gale Elder's great Tao true body was scattered by black hell. He took out treasures, swallowed pills, again evolved his great Tao true body, summoning the Gale Great Tao, continuing to fight fiercely. His combat power wasn't weak, top tier among 8th-level elders, but still far inferior compared to black hell. Doing this only delayed the inevitable. He would die sooner or later. Before long, his great Tao true body was scattered again. Gale Elder roared in anger repeatedly, already starting to fight desperately, but still didn't beg Lin Moyu to spare him. His fortune worsened further. Extremely bad fortune had begun to affect his thinking, unable to make correct judgments. Black Hell's attacks didn't stop for a moment. Gale Elder had exhausted all his methods, no longer having any power to resist. Seeing Gale Elder about to collapse, he still gripped that broken treasure in his hand, not letting go. "Stop!" A shout came. Someone rushed over from a side path. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Changing Heiyu to Black Prison for now. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3445, 3445. Chapter 3445, Leave or Die, Misfortune Skull. Lin Moyu looked at the newcomer. Earlier during the Nine Heavens competition, he had been sitting with Gale Elder, seeming to have a good relationship. Unexpectedly, they encountered each other here as well. At that time, Dongfang Wooding had also introduced him to Lin Moyu. This person was called Li Fengye, known as Maple Leaf Elder, and was the patriarch of the Li family from Riftwind Cliff. Like Gale Elder, he was from Riftwind Cliff, and both were from 6-star powers. Both were at the 8th level of Tao Venerable realm, so it was normal for them to know each other. Lin Moyu looked at his fortune, his eyes narrowing slightly. Misfortune has appeared in his fortune as well. This bit of misfortune just appeared and isn't too dense yet. He has a good relationship with Gale Elder. It seems the misfortune comes from Gale Elder. When Maple Leaf Elder shouted, "Stop!" Lin Moyu completely ignored him. Black Hell attacked even more fiercely, with Gale Elder screaming non-stop, already at death's door. Maple Leaf Elder roared angrily, "I told you to stop, didn't you hear me?" Lin Moyu looked at him coldly, snorting, "Shut up." Maple Leaf Elder roared, "Stop immediately, or else." Lin Moyu interrupted him, his voice like thunder, "Say one more word and I'll kill you." Lin Moyu didn't give him any face at all. No matter what kind of elder you are, dare to speak again and he would directly kill you. Maple Leaf Elder was cowed by Lin Moyu's aura, momentarily stunned, unable to speak. A scream rang out. Gale Elder finally couldn't hold on any longer. His body was bitten in half by Black Hell. Hell fiends pounced over, devouring Gale Elder. In the end, only one severed hand of Gale Elder was left. The rest was completely devoured. Lin Moyu put away Skeleton Hell and looked at Maple Leaf Elder. After Gale Elder's death, the misfortune on Maple Leaf Elder stopped increasing and began to slowly dissipate. Lin Moyu clapped his hands. "All right, now the person has been killed. Does Elder Maple have anything else to say?" Maple Leaf Elder's chest heaved with anger. "Why did you kill him?" Lin Moyu said, "He wanted to kill me, so naturally I had to kill him. As for the reason, if you want to know, I can send you down to see him." Maple Leaf Elder was suddenly at a loss for words. He realized that Lin Moyu was someone who didn't reason with others. Lin Moyu wouldn't explain anything to him, as if he didn't have the right to ask for an explanation. Maple Leaf Elder knew very clearly that Gale Elder's strength was only stronger, not weaker than his own. If Lin Moyu could easily kill Gale Elder, then he could easily kill him too. A little 5th level Tao Venerable fellow being able to easily kill an 8th level Tao Venerable existence, just thinking about this kind of strength was terrifying. No wonder Dongfang Wooding would treat Lin Moyu as an equal. It wasn't because Lin Moyu had some special status, but because of Lin Moyu's strength. Lin Moyu said, "I'll give you 3 seconds to consider. Leave immediately or stay to accompany him." 3. The countdown began. Maple Leaf Elder instinctively said, "Aren't you being too overbearing?" 2. Lin Moyu ignored him, continuing his countdown, his gaze becoming increasingly dangerous. His faint smile, in Maple Leaf Elder's eyes, was like a deadly sword. 1. Maple Leaf Elder turned and left immediately, not daring to say another word. Lin Moyu chuckled, reaching out his hand. Gale Elder's remaining severed hand flew over, still gripping the broken treasure. A broken hand with a broken treasure, quite fitting, Lin Moyu muttered to himself with a smile, taking the broken treasure in hand. At the same time, a ball of fire shot out, burning fiercely on the severed palm. Lin Moyu used Revive the Dead, wanting to turn Gale Elder into a reborn one. As Gale Elder's flesh began to regenerate, Lin Moyu examined the broken treasure. The treasure, only half a skull, emitted a powerful aura that almost surpassed the Tao Venerable realm, while also having an ethereal quality. Any Tao Venerable with some knowledge could recognize that this treasure was an illusory type treasure. Gale Elder must have thought the same at the time, but he didn't know which great Tao this broken treasure belonged to. Lin Moyu knew it was a treasure of the Fortune Great Tao, specifically used to curse fortune. As soon as he touched the half-skull, a force of fortune tried to burrow into his body. This wasn't ordinary fortune power, but an extremely violent fortune poison. That's why Gale Elder's fortune had completely turned into misfortune shortly after obtaining it. For Tao Venerables who hadn't mastered the Fortune Great Tao, this treasure was terrifying, capable of causing death without one even realizing it. Just like Gale Elder, who died without knowing it was because of this fortune treasure. However, the fortune poison was ineffective against Lin Moyu. He had comprehended the Fortune Great Tao and was very familiar with fortune poison. A mere treasure was far from enough to contaminate his fortune. With a low shout, the Fortune Great Tao appeared, vast fortune power washing over the half-skull. Under the wash of fortune power, the skull immediately began to glow brightly. The originally pitch-black skull became even blacker, glowing with darkness. Using the Fortune Great Tao, he quickly refined the skull and left his soul imprint on it. At the same time, Lin Moyu also learned the use of this skull. This fortune treasure was called the Misfortune Skull. Its function was to cast fortune poison, turning the enemy's fortune into misfortune. Originally, Lin Moyu could use the fortune poison sword, but that was a method that hurt the enemy 1,000 while hurting himself 500. If he used the Misfortune Skull to cast fortune poison, it would be hurting the enemy 1,000 while only hurting himself 100, and the effect of the poison would be greatly enhanced. The Misfortune Skull was of a very high grade. If it hadn't been damaged, it should have been a great Dao realm treasure. Now that it was damaged, it had fallen to the 9th level of Dao Venerable realm. But even so, it was still much stronger than ordinary 9th level Dao Venerable treasures. If it had been Dongfang Wooding who picked it up instead of Gale Elder, things might have been a bit better, but not by much. To put it bluntly, if Dongfang Wooding had picked it up, perhaps the entire Dongfang family would have suffered great misfortune. By now, Gale Elder had completed his rebirth, kneeling respectfully before Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu asked, "Where did you get this? Take me there." Gale Elder immediately led Lin Moyu to where he had obtained the Misfortune Skull. When Lin Moyu had first seen Gale Elder, he had already obtained the Misfortune Skull and had obviously just been through a great battle. That place wasn't where he had just obtained the Misfortune Skull. The place where Gale Elder truly got the Misfortune Skull was several thousand meters away from there. Several thousand meters away, a mountain path reached its end. On a not very large mountainside, a cave appeared. The cave clearly showed signs of artificial excavation. Lin Moyu knew this was once a command room. There were many such command rooms on Nine Heavens Peak. Gale Elder said, "I obtained the skull inside. Then I was chased by a monster all the way out until I met you, Master." Lin Moyu asked, "Are there many monsters inside?" Gale Elder said, "About a dozen or so. Each one is very strong, not much weaker than me." Lin Moyu said, "Go lure one out for me to see." Without another word, Gale Elder charged into the command room. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3446, 3346. Chapter 3446, the position of Fortune Great Dao Lord is still vacant. The moment Gale Elder rushed into the command room, Lin Moyu saw a divine light shine at the entrance. One by one, broken and damaged divine runes appeared. Previously, these divine runes had formed the door, but it had been forcibly broken through. Now the divine runes were still incomplete and had lost their function of blocking enemies. Their only remaining function was to block auras. Before Lin Moyu entered, he couldn't sense the auras inside the command room. A few seconds later, Gale Elder rushed out of the command room again, with a black shadow following close behind. In an instant, a strong feeling of disgust washed over Lin Moyu. The one chasing Gale Elder wasn't a native of the origin continent, but an invader from outside. That's why the Great Dao produced a feeling of disgust. However, the opponent was already dead, leaving behind only a shell controlled by lingering will. The opponent's form was like a leopard, completely black, with 7 silver light spots from its head to its back. Lin Moyu didn't know the opponent's identity at the time. Gale Elder had lured it out, and Lin Moyu casually waved out a ball of world-burning fire. To deal with souls and lingering will, world-burning fire was the best choice after the catastrophe scepter. The world-burning fire instantly engulfed it. With a sharp cry, the black leopard only lasted 10 seconds before collapsing with a boom. The lingering will that had existed for who knows how many years was burned away, and this body completely lost its soul. The Great Dao's feeling of disgust didn't completely disappear, but it had become very weak, less than 1,000th of what it was before. Lin Moyu looked at the black leopard lying on the ground. Its body wasn't large, less than 3 meters long, not even as big as an ordinary beast. But from the aura emanating from its flesh and blood, it was certain that this creature had been a Great Dao realm being when alive. Only a Great Dao realm being could ensure that the physical body wouldn't decay after countless years. With this physical body, its combat power wouldn't be much inferior to Gale Elder's. If there were a few more, any 8th level elder who encountered them would have to flee in panic. It's a pity it's not a being from this world, so it can't be turned into a reborn one. However, it should be fine to use for corpse explosion. A Great Dao realm corpse should have quite good effects. After putting away the black leopard's corpse, Lin Moyu was in a very good mood, having so easily obtained a Great Dao realm corpse. He looked at Gale Elder. "How many more are inside?" Gale Elder said, "There are 7 more. 2 are as powerful as this one, the other 5 aren't as strong. Lin Moyu nodded, all right then, let's go in. With Gale Elder leading the way, the 2 entered the command room one after another. As soon as Gale Elder entered, black leopards immediately attacked him. Following Lin Moyu's will, Gale Elder immediately ran to the other end of the command room, luring away all the black leopards. Lin Moyu, following closely behind, released a large amount of flames, turning the entire command room into a sea of fire. The world-burning fire wouldn't burn ordinary objects. It would only burn souls or be used to refine worlds. The 7 black leopards screamed in the flames. One by one, their lingering wills were quickly burned to ash, truly becoming corpses. Although the 7 black leopards varied in strength, 2 were at the Great Tao realm, while the other 5 were at the pseudo-Great Tao realm. Their physical bodies could ignore the erosion of time. After burning them to death with one fire, Lin Moyu truly entered the command room. The structure of the command room was very simple, with only one table and a few items scattered on the ground. After countless years, some had turned to ash with the passage of time. Those that remained were all good items. The things on the ground were basically some writing implements, only preserved because they were made with special materials. Most crucially, Lin Moyu saw another part of the misfortune skull. The misfortune skull that Lin Moyu had obtained earlier accounted for about 30% of the entire misfortune skull. Now there was another 20% here, adding up to about half. Taking the 20% fragment of the misfortune skull in hand, the fortune Great Tao appeared, washing over it like great rivers. It washed away the remaining power on the misfortune skull while also leaving his soul imprint. Suddenly, Lin Moyu frowned and threw both fragments out. The misfortune skull fragments burst out with a black light, condensing into an imposing middle-aged man in black clothes. His clothing was completely different from the current era. Lin Moyu recognized at a glance that this was clothing from prehistoric times, somewhat similar to what Question Tao Lord and Ji Yu Hanyu wore. The middle-aged man looked at Lin Moyu and slowly spoke, "Fortune Misfortune Tao Lord." Lin Moyu bowed slightly. Lin Moyu of the human race greets the elder. Misfortune Tao Lord sighed, "This old man has been gone for endless years. To be able to see a descendant of the human race again is this old man's fortune. My calculations back then weren't wrong. Leaving behind a strand of will has finally paid off." Lin Moyu asked, "Did you also fall in the great battle at Nine Heavens Peak?" Misfortune Tao Lord looked around, his gaze filled with nostalgia. This old man fell right here. Back then, when the 7-star leopard clan invaded our southern continent, Dongfang Duantian led us southern continent cultivators to refine Nine Heavens Peak into a war fortress. Borrowing the power of the Earth's origin and drawing upon the essence of the outer Great Tao, we engaged in battle with the 7-star leopard clan. This battle was too fierce. However, we were united in purpose and gradually gained the upper hand. In the end, if not for the Black Blood Realm's sneak attack and interference, we would certainly have achieved a great victory, and the casualties wouldn't have been so heavy. From his simple description, Lin Moyu could deeply feel how cruel that great battle of the past had been. Who knows how many people died on the southern continent, to the extent that inheritances were almost completely cut off. Fortunately, they still won. Otherwise, the southern continent might have sunk into the sea. Misfortune Tao Lord continued, "This old man's misfortune skull has been damaged and no longer has its former power. If the young friend has use for it, then use it. If it's useless, throw it away. There's no need to feel pity." After so many years, for this old man to see a cultivator of the fortune Great Tao again, to know that the Great Tao's inheritance still exists, this old man can die without regrets. In that battle back then, this old man faced 8 opponents alone. It was worth it. Misfortune Tao Lord had been right here back then, in this small command room, facing 8 powerful beings from the 7-star leopard clan, boldly taking action. Although he died in battle, he also permanently left those 7-star leopard clan powerhouses here. Misfortune Tao Lord's expression was free and unrestrained, his words passionate, his will gradually dissipating. He looked at Lin Moyu one last time, his eyes filled with satisfaction. "Young friend, work hard. The position of Fortune Great Tao Lord is still vacant. Take that seat." Lin Moyu bowed solemnly to Misfortune Tao Lord, "Farewell, elder." Although he didn't know Misfortune Tao Lord's deeds, he was worthy of respect. After Misfortune Tao Lord left, Lin Moyu took a deep breath and picked up the misfortune skull. The 2 pieces of the misfortune skull could no longer be fused back together. This treasure was completely ruined. The remaining 30% piece could still be used, but compared to its peak, it was much weaker. The 20% fragment was completely damaged and useless. Lin Moyu's gaze flickered, and he had an idea. Perhaps I can try something. Undying flame appeared in his palm. Summon elemental lich. He would use the 20% fragment to summon an elemental lich. Because this was a great Dao realm treasure, even though it was broken, Lin Moyu couldn't be certain of success. He had experience before that great Dao realm treasures and materials indeed couldn't be used to summon elemental liches. There was only one possibility, that some of the materials used to refine this treasure were Dao Venerable realm materials. Plus, it was damaged, its level had dropped, and it had been eroded by time. Perhaps there was still a slim chance. In any case, it was worth a try. Putting waste to use wouldn't result in any loss. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3447, 3347. Chapter 3447, Misfortune Lich, the best choice for harming others. The undying flame ignited the remaining 20% of the misfortune skull. The flames burned fiercely, flickering before Lin Moyu's eyes. The misfortune skull remained motionless in the flames, showing no change. Lin Moyu knew the material grade was very high, and summoning an elemental lich wouldn't be easy. He had even thought that it would likely fail, with a low chance of success. He just wanted to try it out. After waiting for several minutes, the flames suddenly became unstable. Sparks flew wildly, setting off fireworks in Lin Moyu's palm. Is it going to fail? Lin Moyu had anticipated this situation and wouldn't be disappointed even if it failed. The misfortune skull began to change shape in the firelight. Streams of black chi surged out from the skull. This was the fortune power remaining in the treasure, full of violent fortune poison. If others were contaminated by it, their fortune would definitely weaken, or even turn into misfortune. But for Lin Moyu, it wasn't a big problem. Lin Moyu directly waved his hand, gathering the surging fortune into a mass and absorbing it all. Relying on his fortune great Dao, Lin Moyu easily purified the fortune poison. The fortune great Dao originally had two sides, yin and yang, which could be automatically converted according to Lin Moyu's will. Absorbing it was effortless. After the fortune power was forced out of the misfortune skull, it began to stabilize again. At this point, the color of the misfortune skull had faded somewhat, no longer so pitch black. It was slowly changing shape in the undying flame, showing signs of liquefaction. Lin Moyu murmured softly, "It seems the materials used to refine the misfortune skull aren't as high grade as imagined. It's just that its materials are rather special, not ordinary materials. The fortune great Dao is an illusory type great Dao. To find materials that can fuse with fortune power, they must also be illusory type materials, and not all illusory type materials will work. Illusory type materials are already hard to find, and finding high grade ones is even rarer. I thought too much. The materials of the misfortune skull aren't as high grade as I imagined. What's truly high grade is the fortune power inside. Misfortune Dao Lord fused his own fortune power into it, which greatly increased the level of the misfortune skull, reaching the great Dao realm. Purely in terms of materials, it's at the Dao Venerable realm." Lin Moyu understood. For a great Dao realm treasure, apart from materials, the most important thing was great Dao power. The materials could be slightly inferior, but great Dao power was indispensable. After the undying flame burned continuously for half an hour, this 20% piece of the misfortune skull finally melted completely, turning into a small pool of liquid. A large amount of impurities were removed, making it extremely pure. Then, a mysterious power descended, officially beginning to form the elemental lich. An entirely black elemental lich, only the size of a fist, gradually appeared in view. Lin Moyu had a thought. The fortune great Dao appeared, and 3 streams of fortune power poured into the elemental lich's body. With the support of fortune power, the formation of the elemental lich became very smooth. The small body became blacker and blacker. After reaching the limit of blackness, it suddenly turned transparent, disappearing from sight. An illusory type lich was invisible to the naked eye and difficult to sense. Even when it launched an attack, it would be hard to detect. Lin Moyu chuckled, invisible and inaudible. This little one is truly the best choice for spying on information. Before the elemental lich had even emerged, Lin Moyu had already thought of another use for it. The flames gradually extinguished, and the elemental lich fully formed. This summoning was finally successful. Although others couldn't see or hear it, this small elemental lich was very clear before Lin Moyu. Its transparent body, enveloped by fortune power, was flying around him, looking very happy. With a thought, he immediately received its information. Misfortune Lich. Realm. Dao Venerable 9th level. Grade. Perfect. Growth limit. None. Technique. Continuous misfortune. Continuous misfortune can devour fortune and convert it into misfortune. Looking at the information, it seemed to have no great use. But upon careful analysis, the Misfortune Lich was definitely an excellent tool for killing and causing havoc. Devouring fortune and converting it into misfortune, this ability was enough to make countless cultivators despair. Fortune was extremely important for a cultivator. The stronger one's fortune, the smoother their cultivation. If misfortune became strong, no matter what they did would fail. They might even go berserk from a simple closed-door cultivation, at best regressing in cultivation, at worst dying on the spot. Most importantly, everything happened silently and imperceptibly. Just like Gale Elder, who was already at the 8th level of Dao Venerable. After obtaining the Misfortune Skull, he thought he had obtained some treasure, not knowing that his life was already doomed at that moment. Moreover, the fortune that the Misfortune Lich could devour wasn't just personal fortune, but also sect fortune, causing an entire sect to suffer misfortune or even perish. Lin Moyu held out his hand, letting the Misfortune Lich land on his palm. He muttered to himself, "What a formidable little one. Truly killing without bloodshed, no, eliminating people without a trace." Lin Moyu took a deep breath. "I've really struck it rich." Encountering Gale Elder not only gave him the Misfortune Skull, a fortune-type treasure, but also the Misfortune Lich. Additionally, he got the corpses of 8 7-star Black Leopards, 3 at the Great Dao Realm and 5 at the Pseudo-Great Dao Realm. He had indeed struck it rich. Leaving the command room and identifying the route, Lin Moyu flew upwards. This place wasn't far from the peak. Flying up another 10,000 meters would reach it. If this wasn't Nine Heavens Peak, a distance of 10,000 meters could be covered instantly. The closer to the peak, the more dangerous it became. The peak was where several commanders were stationed in the past. Each commander was at the Great Dao Realm, so the 7-star Black Leopard clan members who came here must have been at the Great Dao Realm as well. If there were any residual powers, one would certainly suffer if not careful. After flying several thousand meters, Lin Moyu felt waves of pressure coming from the deep mist. The mist before his eyes was thick, obscuring the path ahead. However, this force seemed to be preventing him from going forward. Suddenly, light flashed before his eyes. Lin Moyu quickly changed position. At some point, a light strip had appeared in the direction he was advancing. The light strip was hidden in the mist. By the time he noticed it, it was already very close. Lin Moyu approached and saw that the direction the light strip was running was completely different from the direction he had come from. Fortunately, his reaction was fast enough to avoid it in time. Once entering the light strip, he would have been taken elsewhere. Lin Moyu carefully examined the light strip. The light strip relied on the Divine Rune formation, shouldering the task of transporting personnel and materials throughout Nine Heavens Peak. Each light strip could quickly transport those who entered it to distant places. In the past, there should have been light strips leading to the peak, but during the Great Battle, the light strips were destroyed and their directions became chaotic. Now many light strips were hidden in the mist, and one could only carefully avoid them. Lin Moyu slowed down again, becoming more cautious. There were quite a few light strips in the mist. Some were still intact, while others were broken. Lin Moyu avoided them all, not touching any. Slowly, he felt the pressure ahead becoming heavier and heavier. Waves of enormous pressure rushed over, not letting him approach. Advancing against the pressure, in the mist, speed and time became unknowable. After walking for an unknown period, suddenly there was a bright light ahead, and all the mist disappeared. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3448, 3448. Chapter 3448. I know what they want you to find. As the mist dispersed, Lin Moyu saw the night sky, with streams of the Milky Way hanging high above. This scene seemed familiar, like looking up at the starry sky in the great world and seeing streams of the Milky Way. But upon closer inspection, these weren't the same Milky Way. They were different. Not the Milky Way, but great Taos. Lin Moyu couldn't help but murmur, his tone carrying a hint of shock. When he became the son of Yin before, his consciousness had left the origin continent and seen the appearance of the great Taos. Although it was just for a moment, the magnificence of the great Taos remained in his mind. He had glimpsed the great Taos several times since, but they were always fleeting glances, never a clear view. Now, he truly saw the great Taos. 9 Heavens Peak once reached the outer great Tao. It seems this wasn't false. Even though 9 Heavens Peak had been broken, and the current peak was no longer the original peak, one could still glimpse the great Taos. If it's said that the original 9 Heavens Peak could directly reach the great Tao, being an important passage for Tao Venerables to travel to the outer great Tao, it wasn't impossible. However, Lin Moyu knew things couldn't be that simple. The outer great Tao wasn't one's own living room, where one could go as they pleased. There must have been many constraints. Moreover, when he became the son of Yin, he saw that in the outer great Tao, there seemed to be not only great Tao realm beings but also some beings below the great Tao realm. Why those people could live in the outer great Tao was also a question. Lin Moyu looked at the several great Taos in the sky. He could feel the vast power descending from the great Taos, as well as the lofty majesty of the great Taos. The more he looked, the stranger he felt. 5 great Taos, representing metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, just forming the power of the 5 elements. There are thousands of great Taos, why these 5? Is this a coincidence, or intentional? Suddenly, a thunderclap sounded in his ears, and an enormous force came head-on. This force came very abruptly and was extremely powerful. He had felt a similar force in the mist earlier. This force had no malice, it just didn't want him to approach. Now without the mist blocking it, this force became even stronger. Lin Moyu was pushed back 100 meters by this force, almost re-entering the mist. With a low shout in his heart, the power great Tao erupted. His body glowed golden as he used the undying golden body. Golden flames flowed on the surface of his body. The undying great Tao exerted force at the same time, waves of death force spreading out like ripples, resisting the huge pushing force. Life force inside greatly increased the toughness of the power great Tao. Everything was completed in an instant. Lin Moyu quickly stabilized himself and pushed forward against the pressure. The two forces collided in the void, causing visible distortions in space. Now Lin Moyu had reached the current peak. He no longer needed to climb. Below his feet was a flat ground. He dismissed the divine rune wings, allowing himself to walk more steadily. After walking nearly 1,000 meters against the strong pressure, Lin Moyu finally saw the culprit. A person sat cross-legged, with waves of pressure emanating from him, sweeping out in all directions. Lin Moyu didn't approach, first looking with his undead eye. In the undead eye, a weak soul flame was slowly flickering. The soul flame was incomplete and very weak, clearly showing that the person was severely injured, but he was still alive. Not dead. Lin Moyu was slightly shocked. Such a remnant soul, able to survive countless years, must be at the great Tao realm. But even a great Tao realm being shouldn't be able to survive in this condition. Lin Moyu found it increasingly strange. From his understanding of the great Tao, even a great Tao realm being should die in this situation. Only those from the Black Blood Great Realm could survive in such a condition. Even the outer gods from the Divine Realm couldn't. In terms of tenacity of life, the Black Blood Great Realm was indeed the strongest he had seen, bar none. Lin Moyu observed his surroundings and gradually discovered some clues. In the sky, great Tao power was faintly falling, mixed with the 5 elements attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, becoming a kind of great Tao power with all 5 elements. At the same time, origin power was rising from the ground of 9 Heavens Peak, merging into this person's body. Could it be that he's using the origin spirit veins and the 5 elements great Tao power to sustain his life? Just as Lin Moyu was thinking this, that person suddenly raised his head and looked towards Lin Moyu. His gaze was ancient, filled with traces of the years. Lin Moyu felt no hostility in his gaze, and his intuition didn't give any warning. However, Lin Moyu still prepared himself. If the other showed any hostility, he would counterattack immediately. Let alone a severely injured, dying great Tao realm being, even a great Tao realm being at their peak, Lin Moyu wouldn't fight to the death. Their eyes met, looking at each other from 1,000 meters away. No one spoke first. Suddenly, Lin Moyu found the token on his body flying out automatically. This token was given by Dongfang Wuding, allowing him to enter the command area. The token automatically flew in front of the other person, followed by a deep voice, "Are you a descendant of the Dongfang family?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "This junior is not a descendant of the Dongfang family. This token was given to me by the current patriarch of the Dongfang family, Dongfang Wuding." The person asked again, "How is the Dongfang family now? How is the southern continent now?" Lin Moyu said, "The Dongfang family is doing well, and so is the southern continent. May I ask your name, elder?" Lin Moyu had already guessed at his identity. His first question was about the Dongfang family, showing it was very important to him. So his identity was most likely the ancestor of the Dongfang family, Dongfang Duantian. His answer confirmed Lin Moyu's guess, "I am Dongfang Duantian." Lin Moyu said, "This junior, Lin Moyu of the human race, greets the elder. Currently, the southern continent is doing well. The human race has flourished and grown strong in the southern continent. The area where Nine Heavens Peak is located is called the Broken Sky Domain, named after you, elder." Lin Moyu didn't doubt Dongfang Duantian's identity. Some things couldn't be faked, and Lin Moyu also trusted his intuition. As the leader of the southern continent's great battle, Dongfang Duantian was the strongest. If anyone could survive, he had the highest possibility. Hearing Lin Moyu's words, Dongfang Duantian seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. It seems the origin continent was preserved. Lin Moyu said, "It was preserved, more or less. However, 5 of the 9 continents sank. Currently, there are only the 4 continents of East, South, West, and North." Dongfang Duantian said, "Between life and death, being able to survive is already very good. The origin continent can bear these losses. And given enough time, it can recover. It's no matter." Dongfang Duantian clearly didn't know what happened later, yet he could say such words. Obviously, his realm was extremely high, and his understanding of the heavenly and earthly great Tao was also very deep. To become the leader of the southern continent's great battle, he indeed had extraordinary qualities. After learning that the origin continent was safe, Dongfang Duantian's soul flame seemed to weaken a bit more, as if some lingering will was dissipating. At this rate, Dongfang Duantian might soon die and his Tao would dissipate. Lin Moyu immediately asked, "To be frank with the elder, this junior was entrusted by Patriarch Dongfang Wuding to come find the elder's remains." Dongfang Duantian let out a low laugh, "I know what they want you to find. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3449, 3449. Chapter 3449, Having a descendant like you is enough. The token floating in front of Dongfang Duantian suddenly became dazzling. After a few seconds, the token flew back to Lin Moyu. Dongfang Duantian said, "What they want is inside this." Lin Moyu nodded and put away the token. "Elder, your current state isn't very good. Is there anything this junior can help with?" Dongfang Duantian said in a low voice, "This old man should have died long ago, clinging to life for many years only to seal that fellow. Now that I know the southern continent is safe and our human race is unharmed, this old man can leave with peace of mind. That fellow no longer needs to be sealed. This old man will take him along when I depart." Lin Moyu was shocked, as the one elder wants to seal someone from the Black Blood realm. Dongfang Duantian shook his head, "No, he is the leader of the 7-star Black Leopard clan, the only one who evolved to 8 stars. If he's allowed to return, the bloodline of the 7-star Black Leopard clan will be elevated, their upper limit will increase, and in the future, they might become an 8-star Black Leopard clan. Previously, this old man didn't want to perish together with him, so I used the power of the 5 elements Great Tao to seal him here. At the same time, this old man has been using the power of the Great Tao and the origin spirit veins to cling to life until now. Now, this old man can close his eyes in peace. You should retreat. When this old man's blade falls, 9 Heavens Peak will be 10,000 meters shorter, completely cut off from the outer Great Tao." Lin Moyu had a thought, perhaps this junior has a method to kill the opponent without elder needing to perish together with him. Moreover, elder might receive a Great Tao reward, perhaps giving a slim chance of survival. Dongfang Duantian looked at Lin Moyu with his ancient gaze, "Little one, do you know his strength?" Lin Moyu shook his head, "I don't, but this junior is confident." Dongfang Duantian said, "Great Tao realm, 5th grade innate soul. This is his strength. Are you still confident?" Lin Moyu thought for a moment and said in a low voice, "Yes." Dongfang Duantian let out a low laugh, his laughter rumbling like thunder in their ears. Good, since you're confident, this old man will let you try. If it doesn't work, retreat quickly. This old man will perish together with him. Few people could speak of perishing together so calmly. During the origin catastrophe, countless great Tao realm beings perished. Many of them died heroically like this, without retreating. Dongfang Duantian said in a low voice, "Little one, come over here." Lin Moyu walked over, waves of enormous power crashing into him. He walked with great difficulty. He was very puzzled why Dongfang Duantian asked him to come over, yet this force still tried to push him away. He could only think this was Dongfang Duantian's first test for him. If he couldn't even walk over, how could he talk about killing the enemy? Only when he reached Dongfang Duantian did Lin Moyu realize he was wrong. Right below Dongfang Duantian, separated by a layer of divine rune seal, a black leopard was constantly attacking the seal. It repeatedly struck the seal, each strike releasing powerful force. Dongfang Duantian neutralized this powerful force, and the resulting aftershocks were the force trying to push Lin Moyu away. It turned out it wasn't Dongfang Duantian testing him, but that he had been constantly fighting against this black leopard. Dongfang Duantian said, "Do you see? This fellow is the leader of the Black Leopard clan. They're called 7-star Black Leopards, from the 7-star realm. However, he has evolved to 8 stars. If he's allowed to return, in not many years, the 7-star realm will become an 8-star realm. For every star the 7-star Black Leopards gain, their strength increases dozens of times. So he absolutely cannot be allowed to return." Lin Moyu nodded. He had already seen the 8-star constellation mark on this Black Leopard's body. It looked extremely powerful. The Black Leopard's eyes were full of bloodthirsty madness. If he were let out, the origin continent would surely face great calamity. Lin Moyu said, "Can Elder restrain him for a moment?" Dongfang Duantian asked, "Have you decided to do this? If you fail, I will perish together with him. At that time, you won't have much time to escape. You might die." Lin Moyu said, "Elder has already sacrificed too much for the human race. This junior doesn't want Elder to perish together with such a creature. As long as there's a slim chance of survival, this junior wants to fight for it for Elder." Dongfang Duantian laughed again, "Having a descendant like you in the human race is enough." As he spoke, streams of great Tao power fell from the sky, the power of the 5 elements great Tao, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, fusing into 5 elements power. The 5 elements generated each other, and after fusion, the 5 elements great Tao power increased sharply, much stronger than a single stream. The 5 elements great Tao turned into a waterfall, washing over Dongfang Duantian. Dongfang Duantian's aura expanded rapidly, growing stronger and stronger. Terrifying aura surged out from 9 Heaven's peak, quickly enveloping the broken sky domain, and continuing to spread outward. In an instant, all cultivators at the 7th level of Tao Venerable and above in more than half of the southern continent felt this terrifying power. Countless elders at the 7th level and above became uneasy. This power was like a sword hanging over their heads, ready to fall at any moment. Once it fell, even 9th level elders felt they would be beheaded, their bodies dying and their Tao dissipating. Who on earth has such tremendous power? The power seems to be coming from the broken sky domain. What happened there? Send someone to investigate. The Dongfang family seems to be holding the 9 Heavens competition. Could something have happened at 9 Heavens peak? One 9th level elder after another looked at the sky, their eyes full of shock. The longer they lived, the more they feared death. Especially now, when they had seen the possibility of advancing further, they cherished their lives even more. A huge vortex was gathering in the broken sky domain, but Lin Moyu, at the center of the vortex, didn't notice at all. Lin Moyu didn't know Dongfang Duantian's true cultivation level, but since he could seal an 8-star Black Leopard with a 5th grade innate soul, he must be at least at that level. The 5 elements great Tao power turned into a large net, which reached into the seal, quickly binding the 8-star Black Leopard, rendering it immobile. Dongfang Duantian said, "You have 3 seconds." Lin Moyu only needed an instant, but Dongfang Duantian gave him 3 seconds. 3 seconds was enough. The seal opened, and Lin Moyu immediately rushed in. The space under the seal wasn't large. The 8-star Black Leopard was firmly bound by the 5 elements great Tao power, unable to move. As soon as Lin Moyu entered, they were almost touching each other. The 8-star Black Leopard couldn't move, but its gaze was still fierce, glaring viciously at Lin Moyu. It let out an angry roar. This roar alone was enough to make anyone below the 7th level of Tao Venerable lose their soul. Lin Moyu's soul level was high enough to ignore its roar. The catastrophe scepter appeared in his hand. Without a word, he swung the catastrophe scepter down. Lin Moyu had confidence in the catastrophe scepter. It could definitely smash this fellow to death. If 1 hit wasn't enough, then 2 hits, 3 hits. It would definitely kill it. Bang! The catastrophe scepter smashed onto the 8-star black leopard's head. Large cracks immediately appeared on the black leopard's head, blood spurting from the cracks like a fountain. The 8-star black leopard let out a miserable cry, its aura plummeting sharply, its eyes becoming dim at this moment. With just 1 hit, the 8-star black leopard was already half dead. Dongfang Duantian's eyes also lit up. He hadn't expected it to actually work. He could naturally see that all the credit belonged to the scepter in Lin Moyu's hand. This staff, I seem to have seen it somewhere before. Dongfang Duantian murmured in his heart, not daring to be certain. Bang! Lin Moyu struck a second time. The 8-star black leopard couldn't even let out a scream. Its head exploded on the spot. Along with its soul, it was smashed to pieces. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3450, 3450. Chapter 3450, Dongfang Duantian deserves it. With just 2 strikes, an 8-star black leopard with a 5th grade innate soul was killed. The power of the catastrophe scepter was immense, and its upper limit had not yet been seen. Lin Moyu knew clearly that being able to kill the 8-star black leopard so easily was mainly due to Dongfang Duantian binding it, rendering it immobile. The many years of sealing were not in vain, the 8-star black leopard's power had been greatly weakened. Otherwise, there would certainly have been some trouble. Lin Moyu left the seal and put away the catastrophe scepter. He bowed to Dongfang Duantian, "Elder, I have not failed your command." Dongfang Duantian's aura gradually receded, and the pressure that had enveloped half of the southern continent disappeared with it. He looked Lin Moyu over and said in a low voice, "Your treasure is very powerful. When you go to the outer Great Tao, don't let too many people know you have such a treasure." Lin Moyu's heart tightened, already guessing what this meant. The green-robed elder had also said before that the outer Great Tao wasn't as peaceful as he thought. Now it seemed indeed not peaceful, and not just recently, it had never been peaceful since ancient times. Dongfang Duantian nodded, "The calamity has been eliminated. The Great Tao reward will soon arrive. Perhaps this old man will truly have a slim chance of survival." Lin Moyu said, "It will certainly be possible. Elder has sealed him for so many years. The Great Tao reward must not be small." 2 beams of light fell from the sky, landing on both of them simultaneously. This meant that the rewards they received were equal. Dongfang Duantian had sealed the 8-star black leopard for countless years, laboring greatly. Lin Moyu was the one who killed the 8-star black leopard. The Great Tao could be said to be very fair. In the Great Tao reward, Lin Moyu didn't condense Tao patterns, but made another wish. He hoped to help Dongfang Duantian recover from his injuries. Dongfang Duantian's realm was too high. Even Lin Moyu's spirit flowers had lost their effect. Only the Great Tao reward could help him recover. In Lin Moyu's view, although he had killed the 8-star black leopard, the true credit belonged to Dongfang Duantian. Moreover, he had enough condensed Tao patterns. Even with this Great Tao reward, it would only save him a dozen years or so of work. Lin Moyu felt it was worth exchanging a dozen years of time for Dongfang Duantian's chance at life. The more he understood about the origin catastrophe of the past, the more he respected these Great Tao realm powerhouses. They had sacrificed too much and done too much for the origin continent. Many things were rightfully theirs. This time, Lin Moyu didn't hold back. He gave all the Great Tao rewards he received to Dongfang Duantian. A beam of light moved away from Lin Moyu's body, and the 2 beams then merged into one, all shining on Dongfang Duantian. Lin Moyu came to his senses and immediately used his undead eye to look at Dongfang Duantian's soul. Dongfang Duantian's injury was to his soul. As long as his soul recovered, the injuries to his physical body were nothing. He saw Dongfang Duantian's soul recovering at a visible speed. Lin Moyu was delighted. At this rate of recovery, when the Great Tao reward ends, his soul should recover at least 60–70%. With 60–70% soul recovery, Dongfang Duantian wouldn't have to worry about his life. As for how to recover further, that was beyond Lin Moyu's control. He believed Dongfang Duantian would certainly have a way. After waiting quietly for half an hour, the great Tao reward finally disappeared. Dongfang Duantian's soul was already much stronger than before, changing from a wisp of remnant soul to a fairly complete soul. Dongfang Duantian slowly stood up and bowed deeply to Lin Moyu. "Thank you, young friend." He knew what Lin Moyu had done for him. Lin Moyu didn't dodge, accepting Dongfang Duantian's bow. Similarly, Dongfang Duantian deserved his help, and he equally deserved Dongfang Duantian's bow. However, the karma he had originally wanted to reduce now seemed to be increasing again. Lin Moyu asked, "How is Elder's recovery?" Dongfang Duantian said, "About 70% recovered." The result was better than imagined. Originally thinking it would recover 60%, now it had recovered 70%, quite a significant difference. Dongfang Duantian smiled. After his soul recovered 70%, his aged appearance gradually became younger. Lin Moyu asked, "What are Elder's plans for the remaining 30%? Dongfang Duantian said, "When this old man returns to the outer Great Tao, I will go to the Soul Void to hunt and recover my soul." Lin Moyu nodded. "Then this junior wishes Elder a smooth recovery, not only to your peak, but to advance even further." Dongfang Duantian said, "Thank you, young friend. I hope you also come to the outer Great Tao soon. This old man will welcome you in the Great Tao when the time comes." Lin Moyu said, "I will come, but there are still many things to do. The origin continent is still in a state of heaven-earth separation. It will take time." Dongfang Duantian looked at the sky and sighed. "Yes, heaven and earth are separated. But the great change is coming soon. Young friend, take out that token from earlier. This old man will make some modifications to it." Lin Moyu handed the token to Dongfang Duantian again. Dongfang Duantian held the token in his hand, making some changes to it. At the same time, Dongfang Duantian said, "This token of the Dongfang family was originally made by this old man. From now on, this token belongs to you, young friend. Young friend can activate the token in front of the Dongfang family members. This old man has words for them. Besides this old man has also recorded some other things in the token, but..." He looked at the sky again, "But now heaven and earth are separated, and the Great Tao's restrictions still exist. Many things cannot be said. Young friend, please don't blame this old man." He returned the modified token to Lin Moyu. The token had become more exquisite, with an even more ancient aura. The words, "Dongfang Duantian," appeared on the token. Light flickered in the sky, and myriad colorful rays were gathering, ready to descend at any moment. Dongfang Duantian said, "The Great Tao has come to receive people. This old man must leave now. Young friend, remember my words. Only by leading this great change can you gain infinite possibilities." The colorful light descended. Dongfang Duantian rose into the sky within the light, leaving 9 Heavens Peak and the origin continent. He returned to the Great Tao without perishing, which was great news for the human race. At this moment, 9 Heavens Peak began to rumble, the entire peak emitting dazzling light. As Dongfang Duantian left, 9 Heavens Peak underwent a great change, ending prematurely. The divine rune formation roared into operation, teleporting everyone inside 9 Heavens Peak out. Lin Moyu didn't resist, allowing himself to be teleported away by the formation. This journey had already been full of gains for him. There was no need to forcibly stay longer. Outside 9 Heavens Peak, figures appeared one after another, each looking puzzled. "Why did we suddenly come out? I was just about to break a seal, why did I come out? The treasure was almost in my hands, why was I suddenly teleported out?" Many people were about to obtain opportunities when they were suddenly teleported out, feeling somewhat unwilling. However, no matter how unwilling they were, they only dared to complain a little. No one dared to question the Dongfang family. The 7th level Tao Venerable Elders, however, were much calmer. They knew something must have happened. They looked towards Dongfang Wuding, getting their answer from his expression. Dongfang Wuding was clearly also stunned, obviously not knowing what had happened. 9 Heavens Peak disappeared back into the void, only its outline faintly visible. The matter was settled. Dongfang Wuding could only announce that this 9 Heavens competition had ended, and the next one would be in 100 years. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3451, 3451. Chapter 3451, The Ancestors' Words Must Be Heeded. The Nine Heavens Peak competition had been held many times, but this was the first time a problem occurred. Even the Dongfang family was at a loss. Only Lin Moyu knew that the root cause was Dongfang Duantian. Dongfang Duantian had sealed the 8-star black leopard for many years, constantly requiring enormous power. The power he used came from multiple sources: the outer Great Tao, origin spirit veins, the Nine Heavens Peak divine rune formation constantly absorbing power from the outside world, and the power provided during the opening of Nine Heavens Peak every 100 years. Dongfang Duantian had used almost all available power to seal the 8-star black leopard. Now that Dongfang Duantian had been received by the Great Tao and left, it was a major change for Nine Heavens Peak. Naturally, Nine Heavens Peak would show various anomalies. The divine rune formation sending everyone away from Nine Heavens Peak early was already a good outcome. Lin Moyu saw Zhang Ruoxue in the crowd. She had a smile on her face and didn't look disappointed or frustrated like some others, clearly having found what she wanted. Zhang Ruoxue's fortune was very strong, so her luck naturally wouldn't be bad. As long as it wasn't too outrageous, she could basically achieve what she wanted. After Dongfang Wuding announced the end of the Nine Heavens Peak competition, many people began to leave. Lin Moyu felt a gaze full of hostility fixed on him. Turning to look, he saw Maple Leaf Elder. This 8th-level elder who had interacted with him in Nine Heavens Peak was full of hostility towards him. Lin Moyu smiled slightly but didn't pay attention to him. There were many people hostile towards him. If he had to deal with them all, he'd surely exhaust himself. Dongfang Wuding brought Zhang Ruoxue to Lin Moyu's side. "Young friend Lin, I wonder." Lin Moyu said, "Do you want to talk here?" Dongfang Wuding immediately understood Lin Moyu's meaning and laughed heartily. "Young friend Lin, please come with me." He led Lin Moyu into Broken Sky City, entering the Dongfang family compound. Along the way, the Dongfang family members all addressed Dongfang Wuding as "ancestor," showing great respect. Dongfang Wuding returned to his own courtyard and dismissed everyone before saying, "Young friend Lin, you can speak now." Lin Moyu took out the token modified by Dongfang Duantian. "What you want should be in here." Dongfang Wuding recognized at a glance that this token was the one he had given to Lin Moyu, but it had been modified. He knew the token's origin. Only one person had the ability to modify the token. Dongfang Wuding immediately became excited, his breathing heavy and his voice slightly trembling. "Is the ancestor still alive?" Lin Moyu said, "He is. He has now returned to the outer Great Tao. Perhaps you won't be able to see him again in the future." Joy spread across Dongfang Wuding's face. "It's good that he's still alive, it's good." For these great families and powers, having an ancestor in the outer Great Tao was extremely important. It meant they had support, a connection to their roots. Dongfang Wuding squeezed out a drop of blood, using the Dongfang family bloodline to activate the token. The token automatically flew up, hovering in midair and emitting golden light. Dongfang Duantian appeared from the golden light. Upon seeing Dongfang Duantian, Dongfang Wuding's whole body trembled. He respectfully kowtowed. Unfilial descendant Dongfang Wuding pays respects to the ancestor. Dongfang Duantian's voice slowly transmitted. "This ancestor, with young friend Lin's help today, has preserved my life and returned to the Great Tao. Young friend Lin is this ancestor's benefactor. Young friend Lin holds this token. You all must treat him as if this ancestor were personally present. This ancestor has imparted the method of using the sky-breaking blade. This blade is dangerous. Forcibly using it without being at the Great Tao realm risks backlash. Unless absolutely necessary, remember not to use it." The Dongfang Duantian in the golden light lightly pointed at Dongfang Wuding, and a stream of information naturally flowed into Dongfang Wuding's mind. Lin Moyu knew that what Dongfang Wuding really wanted was the method to control the sky-breaking blade. The sky-breaking blade was Dongfang Duantian's treasure. It once slashed out the broken sky domain, nearly cutting the southern continent in half. The entire broken sky city was actually the sky-breaking blade. The problem was that they, as Dongfang Duantian's descendants, didn't know how to use the sky-breaking blade. For so many years, countless generations of the Dongfang family had researched the sky-breaking blade, all to no avail. Now, they finally knew how to use the sky-breaking blade. Although this blade was very dangerous, for the Dongfang family, it was an incredibly terrifying trump card. Dongfang Duantian left, and the token automatically fell back into Lin Moyu's hand. Dongfang Wuding stood up and bowed to Lin Moyu, his attitude quite respectful. Mr. Lin, you are the ancestors' benefactor, which means you are also the Dongfang family's benefactor. In the future, whatever you need, please just say the word. The Dongfang family will certainly do our utmost. Young friend Lin had become Mr. Lin. Lin Moyu was called young friend by Dongfang Duantian. How could Dongfang Wooding dare to call him that? Wouldn't that be putting himself on the same level as Dongfang Duantian? Lin Moyu smiled and said, "You don't need to be so polite. Ancestor Duantian has done too much for the origin continent. I just helped him a little bit. It's not worth mentioning." But Dongfang Wooding didn't think so. The ancestor said to treat you as if he were personally present. The ancestor's words must be heeded. Seeing Dongfang Wooding so certain, Lin Moyu didn't say more. "Then as you wish." Dongfang Wooding said, "I'll tell the other elders in the family about this matter. We'll prepare a banquet to properly thank you, Mr. Lin. After the banquet, I'll take Mr. Lin to the treasury. Any item there, Mr. Lin can take as you please." Lin Moyu had originally wanted to leave, but Dongfang Wooding was being too polite. He could only agree to stay for a meal and also meet the other elders of the Dongfang family. Most importantly, Little May could feast to her heart's content again. The Dongfang family had 5 9th-level elders. In terms of strength, they surpassed the Coldwater Holy Land. During the banquet, Lin Moyu tactfully mentioned his relationship with the Coldwater Holy Land, hoping the Dongfang family could lend a hand if the Coldwater Holy Land was in trouble. The grand banquet lasted a full day and night. Those who could participate were all 7th level and above elders of the Dongfang family. Amidst the toasts and cup exchanges, Lin Moyu and the various elders of the Dongfang family had become old friends. Dongfang Wooding relayed Dongfang Duantian's words. Those elders addressed Lin Moyu as Mr. Lin, with great respect. Lin Moyu could also see that the Dongfang family was extremely united and trusted each other greatly. There was no power struggle. This harmonious family was much better than families full of strife like the Wu family. After the banquet, Dongfang Wooding took Lin Moyu to the treasury. He was true to his word, any item could be taken freely. Lin Moyu chose an 8th-level Dao Venerable treasure from among them. Even in the Dongfang family's treasury, there were no 9th-level Dao Venerable treasures. An 8th-level one was already top tier. A day later, Lin Moyu left the Dongfang family and then went to the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce in Broken Sky City. He wanted to ask the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce to buy information about the Heaven-Seeking Seal, but unfortunately, the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce had no relevant information. Lin Moyu knew there were only 2 possibilities. One was that they truly didn't have it. The Heaven-Seeking Seal wasn't an ordinary treasure. If they really didn't have information on it, it wasn't impossible. The second possibility was that information about the Heaven-Seeking Seal was too secret, known only to the 3 ancestors and not for sale to outsiders. If it was the second case, he would have to ask the 3 ancestors when he saw them. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. He knew that going to Wind City in Riftwind Cliff, he might be able to contact the 3 ancestors. The cloud-piercing sword flew in the Broken Sky domain. Little May held a spirit beast leg in her left hand, drew runes with her right hand, and at the same time asked, "Teacher, why do you hope the Dongfang family will help the Coldwater Holy Land? Now the Question Dao sect can barely take care of itself. It has no ability to deal with the Coldwater Holy Land." ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3452, 3452. Chapter 3452, Has the Wu family gone crazy for money? The Coldwater Holy Land's long-standing opponent has always been the Question Dao sect. Without the Question Dao sect as an external enemy, the Coldwater Holy Land's internal affairs would be simple and easy to handle. Now that the Question Dao sect has been almost crippled by Lin Moyu, the Coldwater Holy Land temporarily has no external enemies, so how could there be problems? Lin Moyu said, "Prevention is better than cure. We don't know when the great changes in heaven and earth will come, and we don't know how the world will change then. Since it's called a great change, the changes should be very shocking. Since ancient times, every major change in heaven and earth has caused shifts in power. Many talented individuals will emerge during these times. They will achieve great things and create their own powers. As new powers appear, many old powers will collapse. Whether the Coldwater Holy Land will fall apart, I don't know and can't predict. We can only prepare." Maybe the Dongfang family might have problems first. It's all unpredictable. When the great changes in heaven and earth occur, anything is possible. Lin Moyu had imagined many possibilities, so he wanted to give a heads up and make preparations in advance. The more thorough the preparations, the better they could handle future changes. Little May, gnawing on meat and tilting her head, thought for a long time but still couldn't quite understand. Teacher, can you stop being mysterious? Just say directly what you've thought of. Lin Moyu smiled and said, I hadn't thought of it before, but after meeting Dongfang Duantian this time, I suddenly thought of a possibility. Back when heaven and earth weren't separated, Dao Venerable realm cultivators could go to the outer Great Dao. Later, even after heaven and earth were separated, there were still many Dao Venerable realm beings in the outer Great Dao. Not just Dao Venerable realm, I once had the fortune to see the outer Great Dao. Besides Great Dao realm and Dao Venerable realm beings, there were also beings of other realms. Maybe those people have been reproducing in the outer Great Dao. After all, so many years have passed, anything is possible. The root of the great changes in heaven and earth is that the origin continent wants to restore itself, to return the 9 continents to their original state. When that happens, the 4 continents will become 9 again. The additional 5 continents will need living beings. Where do you think these beings will come from? Little May suddenly said, Teacher, do you mean that people from the outer Great Dao will come down? Lin Moyu nodded, very likely. After all, the origin continent is their root. At that time, even Great Dao realm beings might come down. The Question Dao sect also has people in the outer Great Dao. Do you think they might cause trouble for the Coldwater Holy Land? Little May said, but our Coldwater Holy Land also has ancestors, right? Lin Moyu made an affirmative sound, but it's hard to say about strength levels. Dongfang Duantian is very strong, at least a 5th grade innate soul. If he also comes, with his help, the Question Dao sect won't be able to stir up much trouble. In Lin Moyu's imagination, once the great changes in heaven and earth occur, the separation of heaven and earth will surely be broken. When people come down from above, the origin continent will certainly be in chaos for a while. He didn't know if he would have time to intervene then. After all, he also had his own power, Yu Dao City, and might be too busy. At the same time, it depended on what those in the outer Great Dao were like, whether they were tyrannical or reasonable, all unknown. However, Lin Moyu believed one thing, a strong fist is the hard truth. If you don't reason, I'll kill you with one punch. After flying for 2 days, the cloud-piercing sword left the broken sky domain and officially entered the Wu family's Riftwind Cliff. The area of Riftwind Cliff was smaller than the broken sky domain by about 1 circle. The Wu family was also one of the more special top powers. The other top powers were all very ancient, founded by Great Dao realm powerhouses, with deep foundations. Only the Wu family had a shorter history. They didn't have Great Dao realm ancestors, and their foundation was far inferior to the other top powers. But setting aside ancestors, the Wu family's strength was definitely not weak. They had 4 9th-level Dao Venerables, and also a large number of 8th and 7th-level elders. The Wu family's model for cultivating strong individuals was quite intense, like breeding venomous insects, where the strong rise and the weak fall, with little familial affection. At the same time, the Wu family treated other families within their territory the same way. Those who obeyed lived, those who resisted perished, sometimes even unreasonably. After entering Riftwind Cliff, Lin Moyu headed straight for Wind City. Wind City was the center of Riftwind Cliff and also the origin of the Wu family. According to the information he knew, Riftwind Cliff was once a highland, with terrain even higher than the Question Heaven domain. 1,000 miles behind Wind City, there was a cliff where fierce winds howled year-round, so strong that they created many rifts in space. Some said that if this cliff didn't block the fierce winds, allowing them to blow out, the entire area where Riftwind Cliff was located would become a forbidden zone. No one could reproduce and thrive in such a place, which shows how harsh the environment of Riftwind Cliff was. Even with Riftwind Cliff blocking the fierce winds, the entire land was still swept by strong, cold winds. And the closer to Riftwind Cliff, the stronger the winds, cutting like knives when blowing on the body. At the same time, the closer to Riftwind Cliff, the stronger the origin power contained in heaven and earth. For cultivators comprehending the Wind Great Dao, the benefits were greater. Gradually, a pattern formed in the Wu family's territory. The closer to Riftwind Cliff, the more cultivators there were, eventually forming powers of various sizes. These powers surrounded the Wu family like satellites. The Wu family also continuously infiltrated and controlled them. Now, almost every power had Wu family members occupying crucial positions. The Wu family was like a tree with lush branches and leaves, and those powers were like the leaves and fruits on the big tree, all needing to depend on the Wu family to survive. After flying in Riftwind Cliff for more than a day, the wind became stronger. The cloud-piercing sword was enveloped in a layer of defense, blocking the strong winds. A small city appeared in view. This city wasn't large, with a formation covering it outside, blocking the fierce winds. From a distance, many people could be seen in the city. Lin Moyu said, "We've reached Wind One City. Let's go in first." To enter Wind City, one must first go to several cities on the outskirts of Wind City, complete the procedures, and get permission before being able to enter Wind City. If not done this way, one would have to fight their way in. Lin Moyu came here for the Hell Fragment, not to fight with the Wu family. Some troubles weren't necessary. Entering Wind One City, Lin Moyu went to the passage point set up by the Wu family in Wind One City. After paying the corresponding origin crystals, he queued to enter Wind City. Many people wanted to enter Wind City every day. The Wu family used warships to transport people back and forth, with a daily limit. Moreover, after entering Wind City, one could only stay for 2 days. If one wanted to increase the length of stay, they had to pay corresponding origin crystals. The longer the stay, the more origin crystals needed. The queue was quite long. Lin Moyu needed to wait 2 days in Wind One City before he could enter Wind City. Little May frowned. Has the Wu family gone crazy for money? Lin Moyu understood the Wu family. It's not that they've gone crazy for money, but that they need money. It's not easy for the Wu family to develop and grow so much in such a short time. Little May said, "Wind City is so expensive, why are there still so many people going? Is Riftwind Cliff that attractive?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Cultivation, wealth, they all move people's hearts." Suddenly, Lin Moyu turned his head and saw Maple Leaf Elder in the distance. He couldn't help but smile. What a coincidence. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3453, 3453. Chapter 3453, only in, never out. Little May also saw Maple Leaf Elder. I didn't expect to encounter him here. In Nine Heavens Peak, although Little May was in the Rule World, Lin Moyu had let her see everything happening outside, so she naturally knew about Maple Leaf Elder. Little May muttered, "His expression doesn't look too good." Lin Moyu scanned him with a glance and already knew why. He should be entangled in misfortune now, so his mood naturally wouldn't be too good. He was close to Gale Elder. When Gale Elder was affected by the misfortune skull, he was also influenced. At that time, part of his fortune also turned into misfortune, but fortunately, the misfortune wasn't too deep and was slowly receding. Barring any unexpected events, he would be fine after a period of bad luck. Little May asked curiously, "What is he doing here?" There seemed to be quite a few Dao Venerables in Wind One City. Isn't this number a bit too many? Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Want to know? It's simple." Saying this, he took Little May to the most luxurious restaurant in Wind City. The Wu family made money from almost everything. Within the range of Riftwind Cliff, many businesses were monopolized by the Wu family. Fine cuisine was one of the major items. The restaurant operated by the Wu family was called Heavenly Dance Food Manor. Naturally, they didn't sell ordinary food. They sold delicacies made from spirit beasts and spirit materials, which were not only delicious but also helpful for cultivation. Apart from being expensive, there were no flaws. After Lin Moyu brought Little May into the Heavenly Dance Food Manor, he asked for a private room and ordered several particularly expensive dishes. The private room had dedicated service staff. The environment was serene. The one serving Lin Moyu and Little May was a young girl about 17 or 18 years old, with true God realm cultivation, just a beginner. While serving the dishes, Lin Moyu suddenly tossed her a 5th grade origin crystal. "Are you from the Wu family?" The young girl caught the origin crystal, her face immediately showing joy. Many customers would give origin crystals, but those who directly gave 5th grade origin crystals like Lin Moyu were almost non-existent. The best origin crystal she had ever received was only a 3rd grade premium one. She hurriedly said, "This servant is not from the Wu family." Lin Moyu nodded. I see there are many Tao Venerables in Wind One City these days. Do you know why? As he spoke, he tossed her another 5th grade origin crystal. The young girl caught the origin crystal and immediately answered, something happened in Wind City these days, that's why so many Tao Venerables came. Lin Moyu tossed her a 3rd origin crystal, then took out a handful and placed them on the table. Tell me in detail, and all these will be yours. Dozens of origin crystals piled on the table, all 5th grade. For the young girl, this was an enormous fortune. The young girl's eyes shone. A few days ago, treasure light suddenly burst out from Riftwind Cliff. There were many treasures in the light. Those treasures were flying around inside Riftwind Cliff, and then many Tao Venerables came, all preparing to seek treasures. The reason why so many people were flocking to Wind City was partly because of Riftwind Cliff. Riftwind Cliff was very large. Except for the core area firmly guarded by the Wu family, the marginal areas were open to the public. However, people who wanted to enter had to pay an entrance fee, and the fee wasn't cheap. In Riftwind Cliff, one could better comprehend wind-related great Taos, and at the same time discover some rare materials. Sometimes, one could even obtain powerful treasures. This was why so many people wanted to go to Riftwind Cliff. Lin Moyu asked, has this kind of thing happened before? The young girl immediately replied, it has happened before, every once in a while. But this time there were especially many treasures. I heard there were several hundred, and even the worst ones were Tao Venerable Realm treasures. As she said these words, the young girl's eyes sparkled, full of anticipation. Tao Venerable Realm treasures. If she could have one, it would be an immense fortune. Lin Moyu questioned the young girl, and she answered honestly, telling everything she knew. After all, the young girl's realm was still not high enough. She only knew one side of many things, not the other. Lin Moyu knew he couldn't ask much more, so he gestured for her to leave. Little May looked at Lin Moyu's thoughtful expression. Teacher, do you think there's any problem? Lin Moyu said, if I'm not mistaken, Riftwind Cliff should also be one of the battlefields of the origin catastrophe. Little May blinked her eyes. During the origin catastrophe, there should have been many battlefields. It's not strange if Riftwind Cliff was one of them. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. Indeed, it's not strange. I'm just curious about the Wu family. The Wu family rose to power from Riftwind Cliff. I'm curious about what they obtained inside. And for so many years, the Wu family has been guarding the core area of Riftwind Cliff. What exactly is still in the core area? The heaven-seeking seal is in the core area. The hell fragment I'm looking for this time should also be inside. Besides these, guess what else might be in the core area? Little May looked like a curious baby, full of interest. Teacher, just tell me directly. Lin Moyu chuckled lightly. It's normal that you can't guess, because your teacher can't guess either. Little May's eyes widened, unable to imagine such an answer. Teacher, you're fooling me again. It's not funny at all. Saying this, she stuffed a large piece of meat into her mouth, eating while shouting, I'll bite you to death. Little May had memories of her previous life. Sometimes she was mature, sometimes like a child, very interesting. Lin Moyu was amused by Little May's behavior. Sometimes joking around is quite fun, isn't it? Little May shook her head. Not fun at all. Lin Moyu said, actually, there's no need to guess. We'll know when we go there. The 3 ancestors people should have arrived in Wind City. We'll know when we get there. After teasing Little May, Lin Moyu looked down through the window, seeing the people coming and going in Wind One City. There were indeed quite a few Tao Venerables. In the distance, a warship flew over, bringing a batch of people and taking away another batch, heading towards Wind City. The Wu family's warships made several round trips every day, bringing one batch of people out and taking another batch back. In Wind City, if you didn't pay enough fees, you couldn't stay for a long time. Everything was about money. The Wu family valued money highly. Although the Wu family was large in scale and needed a lot of resources to maintain their family and cultivation, no other family was as greedy for money to this extent. Even businessmen like the 3 ancestors weren't like this. Why is the Wu family so greedy for money? And for so many years, the Wu family seems to only take in and never give out. They've obtained so many origin crystals, but it seems they've never spent them. Where did all this money go? Lin Moyu felt that the Wu family must have secrets. Little May muttered beside him, Teacher, why don't you just ask those 3 guys? Lin Moyu chuckled lightly, then let's ask. With a thought, Wu Xingguang, Wu Bingchuan, and Wu Juan appeared beside him. Lin Moyu asked straightforwardly, do you know the reason why the Wu family is so greedy for money? ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3454, 3454. Chapter 3454, the Wu family is very short of money. A young master of this generation of the Wu family and two Wu family elders clearly didn't know how to answer Lin Moyu's question. Lin Moyu realized his question wasn't appropriate and changed his approach. Is the Wu family short of money? Wu Juan, you answer. Wu Juan said, yes, the Wu family is very short of money. Lin Moyu was clearly surprised by this answer. The Wu family needing money was one thing, but how could they be short to this extent? From what was currently known, the Wu family's money-making speed, at least in the Riftwind Cliff area, was even faster than the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. Explain how you're short of money, Lin Moyu pressed. At this point, Little May also pricked up her ears, listening attentively. Wu Juan said, I don't know exactly how we're short of money, but I know the family is very short of money. Every expenditure has to be carefully accounted for, and money that shouldn't be spent definitely isn't spent. All the cultivation needs of the younger generation are very precisely calculated. Not even one extra pill would be given. Lin Moyu looked at Wu Xingguang. You continue. Wu Xingguang said, the family is indeed short of money. Every month, we're given a fixed amount. It's enough, but there's definitely no surplus. Moreover, the family head often says that the family doesn't have enough money and we need to spend frugally. Lin Moyu looked at Wu Bingchuan. Do you have anything to add? Wu Bingchuan replied, many things in the family are only known by a few elders. Even the family head isn't very clear. The total annual expenditure of the family is handled by Elder Lingshu. How much money can be spent in a year is also directly given by him. Little May found this more and more intriguing. It was the first time she had heard of such a thing. She understood the principle of saving, but saving to this extent wasn't called saving anymore, it was called being stingy. There would always be some waste in pill materials, but the Wu family could be stingy to the point of not wasting even a single pill. If this was really the case, the Wu family shouldn't be short of money. Yet the Wu family was still very short of money. To be precise, they were short of origin crystals. Every year, the Wu family would take many treasures to exchange for origin crystals at the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, and these origin crystals would ultimately disappear to an unknown destination. After listening, Lin Moyu had already locked his target on Riftwind Cliff. He felt that the reason for the Wu family's situation must be related to Riftwind Cliff. Riftwind Cliff was divided into two areas, the core and the periphery. Only Wu family members could enter the core area, and each Wu family member only had one chance to enter after becoming a Dao Venerable. Unless they could become a 9th level elder, they would never be allowed to enter a second time in their lifetime. This was an iron rule of the Wu family. It was the same for Wu Xingguang, Wu Juan, and even Wu Xingchen, who was currently designated as the next family head. They had all only entered Riftwind Cliff once. Wu Bingchuan and Wu Juan didn't gain any benefits from it, only Wu Xingguang obtained the heaven-seeking seal mark, which was considered some benefit. Wu family members all knew that there were many treasures in the core area of Riftwind Cliff, but not everyone had the fortune to obtain them. As for the peripheral area, that was used by the Wu family to make money. As for how they made money, they weren't very clear. The Wu family's business was handled by dedicated people. After this round of questioning, Lin Moyu had a preliminary impression of the Wu family. This was a family with strict rules, almost to the point of having no human touch, everything oriented towards profit. Everyone had to contribute to the Wu family. Once they lost their value, they would become discarded pieces, becoming tools of the Wu family, spending the rest of their lives seeking benefits for the Wu family. After putting the three back, Lin Moyu smiled and said, all right, in a couple of days we'll go to Wind City. Then we'll enter Riftwind Cliff and see if we can solve the mystery of the Wu family's greed for money. Little May was quite interested. Great, with teacher here, we'll definitely solve the mystery. Her eyes were burning with curiosity, her face full of interest. 2 days later, Lin Moyu and Little May boarded the Wu family's warship heading to Wind City. The warship was full of people, about 1,000 in total. This was just the number from Wind 1 City. Besides this, there were Wind 2 City, 3 City, and so on. The Wu family had a total of 18 satellite cities like Wind One City, and the warships made several round trips every day. One can imagine how many people entered and left Wind City every day. The warship's flight route was fixed. Lin Moyu discovered that the warship was actually flying within a formation group. This formation group was very large. If one didn't fly along the fixed route, they would trigger the formation group and be attacked. The Wu family used this method to turn Wind City into a paradise isolated from the world. After flying for an hour, Wind City appeared in view. It was a huge city, the entire city wrapped in fierce winds, sealed tightly. To enter or exit, one could only use specific routes. Otherwise, they couldn't get in or out. If one tried to force their way in, even a Dao Venerable would be killed by the formation. The warship steadily stopped at the gate of Wind City. Everyone disembarked in an orderly manner. When passing through the city gate, everyone was given a token. The token had a number on it, which wasn't fixed but would constantly decrease. Every hour, the number would decrease by 1. When everyone first received the token, the number was 10. This meant they could stay in Wind City for 10 hours. If they wanted to stay longer, they could pay origin crystals through the token at any time to increase the time. To stay an extra hour in Wind City, one had to pay a third-grade origin crystal, which was very expensive. This also meant that most of the people who came here were cultivators at the Heavenly Venerable realm or above. Ordinary cultivators simply couldn't afford it. If one didn't pay origin crystals, they had to leave Wind City before the number reached 0. Otherwise, they would be attacked by the formation. This method fully demonstrated the Wu family's greed for money. At first, Little May didn't understand why so many people wanted to come to Wind City when it was so expensive. After entering Wind City, she realized that a large part of those people came for various materials in Wind City. There were many shops in Wind City, most of them run by Wu family members, selling various materials related to the Wind Great Tao. There were also various wind-related spirit foods and pills, many of which couldn't be bought elsewhere. The entire Wind City could be said to be a holy land for those comprehending the Wind Great Tao. Moreover, comprehending the Wind Great Tao in Wind City had a twice the result with half the effort effect, so people came no matter how expensive it was. Some people had deep backgrounds and wealthy families. They could stay in Wind City for many years, both for cultivation and for seeking treasures. This time, with a large number of precious treasures appearing in Riftwind Cliff, plus those coming to seek treasures, the number of people was even greater. The Wu family controlled the number of people entering Wind City. They only let in as many as left each day, maintaining good order in Wind City. Lin Moyu and Little May went directly to the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce in the center of Wind City. Lin Moyu revealed his high-level membership status and was quickly led to a private room on the second floor. A moment later, the door of the private room opened, and an old acquaintance walked in. Lu Zong greeted Lin Moyu, "Mr. Lin, long time no see." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Congratulations, Elder Lu, on your great progress in cultivation, becoming an 8th level elder. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3455, 3455. Chapter 3455, They won't have opinions, and they don't dare to have opinions. After not seeing Lu Zong for many years, Lin Moyu was somewhat surprised that Lu Zong had advanced from the 7th to the 8th level of Dao Venerable. He remembered that Lu Zong was still quite far from the 8th level of Dao Venerable. Normally, it would take at least tens of thousands of years to advance. Now that Lu Zong had advanced to the 8th level of Dao Venerable, he must have had a great opportunity. Lu Zong's face was full of smiles as he sat down in front of Lin Moyu. "It's all thanks to Mr. Lin's blessing. The 3 ancestors said I did well last time and gave me quite a few rewards." Lin Moyu understood. Lu Zong's opportunity came from the 3 ancestors. And the root of it all was because of himself, so Lu Zong credited this favor to him. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "The 3 ancestors sent Elder Lu here this time, clearly because Elder Lu is capable enough." Lu Zong smiled and took out an object from his bosom. This object wasn't placed in a storage space, but kept close to his body, showing it was very special and couldn't be put into a storage space. Lu Zong carefully held it in his palm. It was a delicate, small house. The house emitted a soft light, looking quite extraordinary. Lin Moyu couldn't tell the specific grade of this small house, but he knew it was unusual. Lu Zong said, the three ancestors said there's a wind opening in the core area of Riftwind Cliff. He needs Mr. Lin to place this small house in the wind opening. Lin Moyu took the small house, examining it while saying, isn't the core area of Riftwind Cliff only accessible to Wu family members? Lu Zong said, that's right, but one can enter the core area from the peripheral area. The three ancestors said Mr. Lin would have a way. Lin Moyu laughed, the three ancestors really think highly of me. If I'm not mistaken, that hell fragment should also be in the core area, right? Lu Zong nodded, yes, the three ancestors said the hell fragment isn't far from the wind opening. Alright, Lin Moyu already knew the three ancestors' calculations. The three ancestors probably knew all along that there was a hell fragment in Riftwind Cliff, but he never told Lin Moyu. The three ancestors was very tight-lipped and never did business at a loss. Lin Moyu said, I suppose Elder Lu also doesn't know what this small house is for. Lu Zong smiled, Mr. Lin is correct, Lu truly doesn't know. Lin Moyu sighed, alright, anyway, I've already been calculated by the three ancestors. He knows I'll definitely go. Where is the three ancestors? I want to ask him some things. Lu Zong said, this is Wind City. The three ancestors will isn't convenient to come here. I don't know what Mr. Lin wants to ask, perhaps I can help. Lin Moyu said, what about the heaven-seeking seal? Heaven-seeking seal? Lu Zong tried hard to recall, but finally shook his head. I've never heard of it. Lin Moyu thought to himself, as expected. It wasn't surprising that Lu Zong hadn't heard of the heaven-seeking seal. After all, he temporarily couldn't access the true core of the Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce. Lu Zong said, how about Mr. Lin waits in Wind City for a few days. I'll contact the three ancestors and ask for Mr. Lin. Lin Moyu said, never mind, I was just asking casually. It's not very important. These days, many people are coming to Riftwind Cliff to seek treasures. I might as well take the opportunity to mix in. As for the heaven-seeking seal, I'll ask the three ancestors later. Lu Zong made an affirmative sound, then I'll trouble Mr. Lin. Lin Moyu smiled, it's no trouble. That's business between me and the three ancestors. We're just taking what we need from each other. Lu Zong said, then does Mr. Lin have anything else that needs Lu to do? Feel free to instruct. The three ancestors said to satisfy Mr. Lin's needs as much as possible. Lin Moyu didn't stand on ceremony, help me prepare some premium grade 3rd level origin crystals, as many as possible. Just deduct it from my Chamber of Commerce account. Lu Zong nodded, that's not a problem. I'll have someone prepare it right away. Please wait a moment, Mr. Lin. Saying this, Lu Zong left to prepare the 3rd level origin crystals. Lin Moyu didn't know how much money he still had in his Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce account, but he thought it shouldn't be too little. The three ancestors had sold many methods for breaking through to the Great Dao Realm, and for each sale, Lin Moyu would get a share. The three ancestors, being a businessman, was quite trustworthy. Lin Moyu believed he wouldn't embezzle the money he was due. After Lu Zong left, Little Mei finally spoke, teacher, this house looks very special. Lin Moyu had already examined the small house front and back. Apart from knowing it was extraordinary, he couldn't see anything else. If he wanted to know more, he would have to refine it. However, Lin Moyu could sense that it belonged to someone else. Its owner should be the three ancestors, so he couldn't refine it. Lin Moyu said, it is very special, but your teacher doesn't know exactly what it's for. This is a transaction between your teacher and the three ancestors. I just need to get the hell fragment, nothing else matters. As he spoke, Lin Moyu had a thought and put the small house into his storage space. Ordinary storage rings might not work, but that didn't mean his storage space wouldn't. Indeed, the small house went in very smoothly, without any problem. In the mysterious space of the Eastern Continent's commercial city, the three ancestors suddenly frowned. It disappeared. Could it be that he entered Riftwind Cliff? But I should still be able to sense it a bit. How strange, what exactly happened? After Lin Moyu put away the small house, the three ancestors instantly lost connection with it. For a moment, the three ancestors couldn't understand. But his will wasn't convenient to go to Riftwind Cliff. To know the answer, he could only send someone to investigate, which would take time. Lin Moyu waited for a while before Lu Zong returned with the 3rd level origin crystals. The quantity was very large, a full million. A million premium grade 3rd level origin crystals was already an extremely huge fortune. Even top powers would have to exert some effort to produce this much. Lu Zong said, originally, these third-level origin crystals were prepared for the Wu family, but since Mr. Lin wants them, we'll give them to Mr. Lin first. Lin Moyu didn't stand on ceremony with Lu Zong and accepted the origin crystals. What about the Wu family's side? Although he said this, he didn't really care about the Wu family's problem at all. He was just asking casually. Lu Zong was also indifferent, we'll transfer some from other branches. It's just a delay of a few days. The Wu family won't have any opinions, and they don't dare to have opinions. The Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce didn't put the Wu family in their eyes at all, speaking very firmly. Lin Moyu smiled, indeed domineering. All right, I'll set out for Riftwind Cliff soon. Lu Zong said, what about this little miss? Lin Moyu said, little Mei will follow me. She'll enter my rule world when the time comes. Lu Zong nodded, Riftwind Cliff isn't safe. Mr. Lin should still be careful. Lin Moyu said, thank you for your concern, elder. I'll be careful. At the entrance of Riftwind Cliff, a long queue had already formed. Everyone paid origin crystals and received a pass token before they could enter Riftwind Cliff. The entire Riftwind Cliff was covered by a large formation. Like in Wind City, entry to Riftwind Cliff was charged by the hour. Each hour also cost 1/3 level origin crystal, which was paid separately and didn't conflict with the fees in Wind City. Calculated together, after entering Riftwind Cliff, one had to pay 2/3 level origin crystals per hour. After queuing for half a day, it was finally Lin Moyu's turn. The Wu family member guarding the entrance didn't even raise his head and directly asked, how long do you want to stay? Asterisk 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 asterisk. I'm reaching out for a little help. My account currently has points to unlock about 100 chapters, but I'll need more to access future chapters. Due to recent surgery and financial difficulties, I'm in a tough spot, which is why I'm asking for support. Please donate only if you want to. Thank you so much for considering. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3456, 3456. Chapter 3456, the Wu family should have bad luck too. The Wu family member carried an arrogant attitude, not very polite. Though he was only a heavenly venerable, he seemed to look down even on Dao venerables. This was the Wu family's territory, this was Wind City, he was a Wu family member, this was his confidence. If it were outside, he would have been killed countless times already. Lin Moyu looked at him and said flatly, 10 hours. Saying this, he tossed out 10 third-grade origin crystals. The man took the origin crystals with a hint of disdain and threw a token on the table. Take it, this is your token. At the same time, he muttered softly, a poor Dao venerable, what can you do in 10 hours? His voice was very low, but Lin Moyu heard it clearly. Lin Moyu picked up the token and said calmly, you're so arrogant, does the Wu family know? The man glanced at Lin Moyu. Whether I'm arrogant or not, is it any of your business? This is the Wu family's territory. If you want to go, then go. If not, get lost. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. Very nice attitude. Taking the token, Lin Moyu walked towards Riftwind Cliff, while the Misfortune Lich silently appeared beside him. Go. With a thought, the Misfortune Lich had already crawled onto the man's head. The entire process was silent and undetected. Even the Wu family's formation didn't notice. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, because of these few words of yours, the Wu family is about to have bad luck. The Misfortune Lich had already activated continuous misfortune, absorbing the man's fortune and converting it into misfortune. This unnamed heavenly venerable was a Wu family member. His fortune was connected to the Wu family's. Not only would his fortune turn into misfortune, but the Wu family's fortune would also gradually turn into misfortune. Eventually, misfortune would fall on every Wu family member's head. The entire Wu family would have bad luck. Lin Moyu entered Riftwind Cliff, but the misfortune lich didn't leave. It continued to lie on the man's head, absorbing and converting fortune. Passing through the formation set up by the Wu family, Lin Moyu entered the peripheral area of Riftwind Cliff. Riftwind Cliff was a huge cliff. Below the cliff was a canyon where fierce winds howled year-round. The token in his hand was flashing, its number had already changed from 10 to 9. He had over 9 hours left. Space distorted behind him as another person entered. Lin Moyu took a step forward, leaping into Riftwind Cliff, advancing randomly with the fierce winds, regardless of direction. After flying for a few minutes, he had completely left the entry point, not knowing where he was. Lin Moyu stopped in the fierce winds, his gaze sweeping the surroundings. The Wu family's formation was completely visible to him. After looking for 5 minutes, Lin Moyu's lips curled slightly as he casually drew several runes. The runes flew into the token, and the number on the token immediately changed. It directly changed from 9 to 999. There were dozens of 9s on the token, so many that Lin Moyu couldn't be bothered to count. Then he did the same thing, changing the number on the Wind City token to dozens of 9s as well. The Wu family's formation seemed powerful, but in Lin Moyu's eyes, it was full of loopholes, easily broken. Next is to find the entrance to the core area. In Riftwind Cliff, the closer to the core area, the stronger the wind force. So, I just need to go in the direction where the wind force is stronger. Lin Moyu carefully sensed the changes in wind force, quickly finding the direction. The winds in Riftwind Cliff would change in size and strength as they constantly collided with the cliff walls. Some winds became weaker after collision, while others actually increased in strength. Lin Moyu could only sense repeatedly, constantly changing direction, following the changes in the wind, seeking increasingly strong winds. He didn't care about direction. In Riftwind Cliff, there was no fixed direction. He just followed the wind force. Wherever the wind was stronger, he went there. As for treasure hunting, that wasn't his purpose this time. Along the way, Lin Moyu also saw a treasure. Watching it fly by not far away, Lin Moyu didn't chase after it. The treasure was wrapped in fierce winds, dancing in Riftwind Cliff with no fixed direction. Whether one could encounter it was purely a matter of luck. Moreover, the treasure flew extremely fast. Lin Moyu estimated that it would be very difficult for anyone below the 4th level of Dao Venerable to catch up. During this time, he also encountered several cultivators. They were in a hurry, with obvious signs of having been in battle. Clearly, these people had fought over treasures. Lin Moyu didn't pay attention to them, continuing to search for direction. He knew it wouldn't be easy to enter the core area from the peripheral area. Otherwise, in so many years, someone would have gone in already. But if the 3 ancestors said it was possible, then it must be possible. If he couldn't find it, then the 3 ancestors must have made a mistake. After searching for several hours, the winds Lin Moyu felt became stronger and stronger, the wind force greater and greater. The wind had completely turned into blades, containing powerful force, blowing on his body and also on his soul. The pain on his skin was a small matter. The wind in Riftwind Cliff blew through his body onto his soul world, making his soul world buzz. At this intensity, even a Dao Venerable could be seriously injured if not careful. If the wind force in the core area is even stronger than here, how did Wu Xingguang enter back then? In the soul world, Wu Xingguang was summoned. The soul asked, Wu Xingguang, when you entered the core area of Riftwind Cliff back then, how did you ensure your own safety? Wu Xingguang said, we would receive a protective jade pendant from the family. As long as we wore the protective jade pendant, the winds in Riftwind Cliff wouldn't harm us. Lin Moyu continued to ask, what if you don't have the protective jade pendant? Wu Xingguang said, in the core area, weak winds can kill a 4th level Dao Venerable, strong winds can seriously injure a 7th level elder. So strong, Lin Moyu was also somewhat surprised. Killing a 4th level Dao Venerable, seriously injuring a 7th level elder, the Wu family's Riftwind Cliff was actually so powerful. This was completely different from what the world knew. It seems the Wu family has hidden many secrets. Lin Moyu thought to himself, continuing to ask, have you been to the peripheral area of Riftwind Cliff? Wu Xingguang shook his head. No, I haven't. Alright, since he hadn't been there, it meant Wu Xingguang didn't know how to enter the core area from the peripheral area. He could only search slowly. Lin Moyu put away his thoughts of taking a shortcut and continued to search for direction based on wind strength. After searching for several more hours, a black dot rapidly enlarged in his vision. A treasure was flying towards him head-on. He wouldn't deliberately seek treasures, but for one coming straight at him like this, Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't let it go. The treasure was flying very fast, like a meteor crashing towards him. Lin Moyu reached out and grabbed it firmly in his hand. The treasure was wrapped in strong winds. The intense wind blew Lin Moyu back several hundred meters before he stopped. The treasure was a small, delicate flying sword. It looked exquisite, emitting an ancient aura. This is a sword from prehistoric times. Lin Moyu saw divine runes drawn on the sword hilt, directly determining its era. Although its grade is ordinary, it should be quite good for little Mei to use. Just as he was about to put the sword away, suddenly space violently distorted, and a powerful attack came straight at him. Lin Moyu took a step, instantly avoiding it, while looking up to see a middle-aged man at the 6th level of Dao Venerable rushing to kill him. "Put down the treasure sword, and I'll spare your life," the middle-aged man shouted angrily, while throwing another punch as he spoke. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3457, 3457. Chapter 3457, do you still want it? The middle-aged Dao Venerable said he would spare Lin Moyu's life if he put down the treasure sword, but his hand didn't stop at all. Perhaps in his eyes, it was more convenient to kill Lin Moyu than to let him voluntarily put down the sword. Lin Moyu was at the 5th level of Dao Venerable, while he was at the 6th level. In terms of realm, he could easily crush Lin Moyu. In Riftwind Cliff, time was precious and couldn't be wasted. How decisive, Lin Moyu chuckled. If the other was decisive, Lin Moyu was even more so. The power Great Dao evolved into a Great Dao true body, governed by the undying Great Dao. The power Great Dao gathered all the power in his body and unleashed it. You dare to fight back? Then die. Seeing Lin Moyu daring to retaliate, the other let out a cold laugh. Boom! Lin Moyu's fist shattered the other's fist, its momentum undiminished as it continued towards the opponent. This is impossible. He instinctively wanted to dodge, but Lin Moyu had already firmly locked onto him. The Great Dao locked the enemy, leaving nowhere to escape. The fist landed on him. With a scream, his physical body was almost instantly shattered, crashing heavily into the cliff wall. Lin Moyu didn't stop, throwing another punch. Since he had started, he wouldn't be soft-handed. He would keep hitting until the other was dead. Fellow Taoist, spare me. It was just a misunderstanding. He screamed in terror. Lin Moyu said nothing, his fist unchanged. With a huge boom, even Riftwind Cliff shook a few times. This 6th level Dao Venerable had turned into a puddle of meat paste, his soul crushed along with his body. Lin Moyu stood in midair, his long robe fluttering in the fierce wind. His gaze swept towards the distance, his voice traveling against the wind. You others, do you also want to try and rob me? There were several other Dao Venerables in the distance. They had originally been watching the show, even thinking of being the fisherman who benefits from the fight between the snipe and the clam. But seeing Lin Moyu so decisively kill the other, they all put away their thoughts. At Lin Moyu's words, everyone quickly left, not daring to linger. Lin Moyu killing a 6th level Dao Venerable with 2 punches left an indelible impression in their minds. No one was so blind as to dare provoke him. Lin Moyu put away the treasure sword and continued to search along the wind. Slowly, Lin Moyu finally discovered some clues. In Riftwind Cliff, the closer to the bottom of the cliff, the more stable the wind force became. It wasn't that the wind became smaller, but that the wind at the bottom of the cliff was stronger than above, yet more regular. Because the wind force was too strong, the edges at the bottom of the cliff had been polished smooth. One could even see the direction of the polishing. Following the direction of the polishing, one could judge the direction the wind came from. No matter how the wind turned, as long as one followed the direction the wind came from, one could find the source. And the source was the core area. Such a good method, how did I only discover it now? Lin Moyu self-deprecatingly thought, it seems I've become too reliant on my spiritual sense. I should have discovered this earlier. He thought back to when he was doing dungeons in Small Worlds. At that time, his spiritual sense wasn't so keen, and he often had to carefully observe to find the correct method. Later, as his spiritual sense became keener, he observed less. Observation was still very important. Lin Moyu felt he should combine observation with spiritual sense. That would be better. At the bottom of the cliff, Lin Moyu saw some more Dao Venerables. Many Dao Venerables were searching for treasures at the bottom of the cliff. The wind was stronger here. Those below the 4th level of Dao Venerable could hardly stay long at the bottom of the cliff. The Dao Venerables encountered here were basically all above the 4th level. There were many Dao Venerables in Riftwind Cliff. Even though Riftwind Cliff was large enough, one could often encounter them. Lin Moyu searched for the direction of the wind at the bottom of the cliff. After half a day of effort, he finally found the source of the wind. Standing in front of a steep cliff, strong wind blew out from the cliff, hitting his body like fists. Golden light flowed on Lin Moyu's body as he activated the undying golden body to block the fierce wind. Looking at the cliff, Lin Moyu's lips curled slightly upward. A divine rune formation. Riftwind Cliff is indeed related to the origin catastrophe. The cliff before his eyes seemed to be a dead end, but it wasn't. On the other side of the cliff was the core area. This cliff was formed by a divine rune formation. For those who didn't understand divine runes, this was just a cliff. The cliff had no top. If one flew up, they could fly out of Riftwind Cliff. Lin Moyu looked at the cliff, divine light flashing in his eyes. One divine rune after another appeared before him. Although this divine rune formation was complex, compared to the divine rune formation in Nine Heavens Peak, it was child's play, not even close. Soon, Lin Moyu found the method to break it. It seems the 3 ancestors knew I was studying divine runes, so he thought I could pass through here. Looking at it this way, the 3 ancestors must have been here before. But why didn't he place the small house himself? There must be a problem. I need to be careful too. Lin Moyu was cautious in his heart. There must be problems in the core area. He wasn't afraid of the Wu family, but worried that something might have been left behind from the origin catastrophe. Just as Lin Moyu was about to act, a voice suddenly came from behind. "Young friend, this is a dead end. You should go elsewhere." Lin Moyu turned to look. A male 8th level Dao Venerable was slowly walking over. He looked very young, seemingly not old in age. This meant he had also become a Dao Venerable at a young age, probably a genius in his time. Looking at his clothing, Lin Moyu bowed slightly. "Elder, are you from the ancient Lotus Holy Land?" The man smiled. "I didn't expect young friend to recognize this old man's background." Lin Moyu said, "Although the ancient Lotus Holy Land doesn't often move in the world, this junior once knew the immortal Lotus Holy Maiden, so I could recognize it." The man was even more surprised. "You actually know Immortal Lotus? Your age?" Quote. He suddenly startled. "Are you Lin Moyu?" Lin Moyu said, "Elder knows this junior." The man said, "After the genius competition, the Fire Lotus Elder returned and mentioned young friend Lin, praising you highly. Immortal Lotus also said young friend Lin was a heaven-defying talent. Seeing you today, I feel their words weren't accurate enough." Lin Moyu spoke with 3 parts humility. "Elder is joking. How am I any heaven-defying talent? I just had some good luck." The man shook his head. "Seeing you today, Wind realizes that young friend Lin is probably the most outstanding genius in a million years. 3,000 years old, 5th level Dao Venerable, what extraordinary talent." Lin Moyu said, "Elder praises too much. If this junior hasn't guessed wrong, Elder should be the Wind Lotus Elder of the ancient Lotus Holy Land, right?" Wind Lotus nodded. "You guessed correctly. May I ask what young friend Lin is doing here?" "There's nothing here, only the opportunity to comprehend the Wind Great Tao. I observe that young friend doesn't cultivate the Wind Great Tao." Lin Moyu said, "This junior was entrusted by someone to do something. I hope Elder Wind can keep secret what this junior is about to do next." Wind Lotus looked at Lin Moyu with interest, agreeing very readily. "All right, Wind promises young friend Lin. No matter what young friend does, Wind won't reveal it to others." Lin Moyu smiled. "Thank you, Elder." He didn't really care if Wind Lotus told others. The worst outcome would be the Wu family coming to cause trouble for him. But so what? He wasn't afraid of the Wu family at all. Drawing several divine runes, the divine runes merged into the cliff. A door immediately appeared on the cliff. More fierce wind blew out from the door. Wind Lotus Elder's face was full of surprise. Behind this is ko-fi.com/translate-toki. Only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3458. 3458. Chapter 3458. Wind Lotus Elder. Lin Moyu said, to be honest with you, Elder, behind this cliff is the core area of Rift Wind Cliff. Wind Lotus Elder asked, young friend wants to go to the core area. Lin Moyu nodded, I was entrusted to do something there. Wind Lotus Elder unconsciously lowered his voice, the core area is the Wu family's forbidden ground. If the Wu family finds out, they will surely pursue and kill you with all their might. Lin Moyu smiled, I have my ways. The Wu family won't know. The implication was that as long as Wind Lotus Elder didn't tell anyone, the Wu family wouldn't know. Wind Lotus Elder nodded, then go ahead. Wind will keep his promise. If there's any trouble, Wind will help young friend resolve it. Lin Moyu said, then I'll trouble Elder. Saying this, Lin Moyu walked into the doorway. After Lin Moyu entered, the doorway disappeared. Wind Lotus Elder then looked behind him, will you kill yourself, or should Wind do it? As his words fell, a streak of light shot out, flying towards the distance. Wind Lotus Elder chuckled, you can't escape from wind. He grasped with his hand, and fierce winds arose. The light streak hadn't flown far before it was wrapped in powerful wind force and blown back. A 5th level Dao Venerable looked at Wind Lotus Elder with terror on his face, Elder, spare me. This junior swears never to speak of what I just heard. Wind Lotus Elder shook his head, Wind promised young friend Lin to handle any subsequent troubles. Wind always keeps his word. You can only blame your curiosity. If you hadn't stopped earlier, you wouldn't have met this calamity. Remember in your next life, not everything can be listened to. Boom, the fierce wind exploded, blasting him into powder, then scattering him to the winds, leaving no trace. Wind Lotus Elder said softly, only the dead won't talk out of turn. Earlier, both Lin Moyu and Wind Lotus Elder had noticed this person, which is why Wind Lotus Elder said he would handle other troubles. Lin Moyu had also understood Wind Lotus Elder's words, which is why he entered the cliff. Wind Lotus Elder didn't go back on his word, directly killing the person. However, if Lin Moyu heard him say that only the dead won't talk out of turn, he might laugh for quite a while. For Lin Moyu, the dead were the most honest. Lin Moyu passed through the Divine Rune Formation and entered the core area that the Wu family had monopolized for countless years. The wind here became different, no longer so fierce, but more dangerous. The power of the Great Tao was infused into the wind, giving it various attributes. The Wind Great Tao was a general term, and also the source Great Tao of all wind system Great Taos. Below it were countless branches, forming various different wind system Great Taos. The wind coming head-on invaded his body, corroding flesh and bones. Lin Moyu said softly, bone-corroding wind. With a shake of his blood essence, all the bone-corroding wind was expelled. Then he surveyed the core area. In his view were still cliffs and precipices, intertwining to form canyons, spread across the land like a spider's web. Besides canyons, there were countless caves and even underground rivers. Wu family members like Wu Xingchen, after entering the core area, would search for caves in the canyons. The caves in the canyons were interconnected, and the paths inside were constantly changing. Even entering the same cave at different times would lead to completely different situations and places. Here, there was no so-called correct path. Everything depended on luck and real-time judgment. Wu family members had protective jade pendants and mostly wouldn't encounter danger. But Lin Moyu wasn't a Wu family member and didn't have a protective jade pendant, so he had to be extremely careful. According to Wu Xingguang, which cave you enter isn't important, nor is where you enter from. What's important is how you walk after entering the cave. Basically all the caves here are connected. Every fork in the road, every choice in the caves, will affect the final outcome. The caves are an enormous, constantly changing maze. Lin Moyu pondered Wu Xingguang's words while looking at the sky. There was a formation covering the sky, but the formation had changed. It no longer calculated time like in the peripheral area. This was a place exclusively for Wu family members, so there was no need to calculate time. Lin Moyu walked a distance against the bone-corroding wind. After turning a corner, the wind suddenly changed. The wind became scorching hot, producing a burning sensation. It's turned into soul-scorching wind, Lin Moyu chuckled. The bone-corroding wind corroded the physical body, while the soul-scorching wind attacked the soul. Facing these two types of wind, Dao Venerables below the 4th level needed special treasures to resist. Those below the 4th level of Dao Venerable would be seriously injured upon contact. Lin Moyu, however, ignored them. His blood essence vibrated, resisting all attacks. He had originally thought of using these two types of wind to temper his physical body, but Lin Moyu discovered that the wind contained the will of powerful beings. It wasn't pure great Tao power and couldn't be used to temper the physical body. This also made him vigilant. The masters who blew these two types of wind might be dead. Even if they were dead, there must be lingering will remaining. Advancing along the canyon, after 2 turns, the soul-scorching wind changed again, becoming more powerful yin wind. Yin wind could freeze soul and body, comparable to some powerful ice great Taos, and also had cursing effects. Lin Moyu still ignored the yin wind. He finally saw a cave. The cave was dark. Lin Moyu quickly walked in. The moment he stepped into the cave, the fierce wind disappeared. Outside the cave, fierce winds howled, but inside there was no wind at all. The seemingly windless cave was actually more dangerous. In the cave existed a special kind of being that the Wu family called wind spirits. The occasional casualties when Wu family members entered the core area came from these wind spirits. The Wu family had protective jade pendants. Most of the time, wind spirits wouldn't actively attack those with pendants. But occasionally wind spirits would go berserk. When berserk, wind spirits would ignore the pendants. At these times, some unlucky Wu family members would be attacked, injured, or even killed. After entering the cave, Lin Moyu walked less than 10 meters before seeing a fork in the road with 4 paths, not knowing which was correct. For others, this would be a difficult choice, but it wasn't a problem for Lin Moyu. It's been a long time since I've explored a map. A maze, quite interesting. With a thought, space distorted and a large number of skeleton generals flew out, quickly diving into the 4 paths to explore. Earlier in the peripheral area, to avoid attracting the attention of Wu family members, Lin Moyu hadn't used skeleton generals to find the way. Now he had no such concerns and could act freely. Without moving at all, a map was rapidly forming in his mind. Not knowing how deep the cave was or how many forks there were, to explore thoroughly, Lin Moyu continuously sent out skeleton generals, releasing several million in total. No matter what kind of maze it was, Lin Moyu planned to use the skeleton sea tactic to explore it completely. At the same time, he wanted to see if he could find the wind opening the 3 ancestors mentioned. It had been a long time since he'd done this. The feeling of clearing dungeons and breaking through secret realms from his memories surged up again. Lin Moyu examined the rapidly forming map, occasionally connecting to the skeleton general's vision to check the surrounding environment. Finally, a wind spirit appeared in view. The wind spirit had a weak soul flame, wrapped in eerie wind, falling onto a skeleton general. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3459, 3459. Chapter 3459, The Unkillable Wind Spirits. The wind spirits existed in a very peculiar way. They had a weak soul flame. Judging purely by the strength of the soul flame, wind spirits were very weak, even weaker than a heavenly venerable. But their bodies had no substance and could completely scatter into nothingness, somewhat similar to illusory-type power. When they scattered, even their soul flames could disperse, just like dissipating after death. But the next moment, they could gather again. Between gathering and scattering, the wind spirit silently attached itself to the skeleton general. In an instant, terrible winds surged from the skeleton general's body. Every corner, every inch of bone on the skeleton general was blown by wind. The skeleton general's soul flame flickered chaotically in the wind, then quickly extinguished and died. A 6th-level Tao Venerable skeleton general died silently like this. After its death, even its solid body was rapidly corroded, leaving not even a speck behind. No remains were left. This skeleton general had truly died permanently. Even the undead nature lost its effect at this moment. After its death, that wind spirit appeared again, unchanged from before. Its soul flame was still as weak, looking as if any heavenly venerable would be much stronger than it. Lin Moyu's vision was connected to this skeleton general, witnessing the entire process. So this is a wind spirit? Killing a 6th-level Tao Venerable skeleton general was actually so easy. No wonder those Tao Venerables of the Wu family would die at its hands. It's indeed a bit strange, but also interesting. Let's try again. He had nearby skeleton generals rush over. From afar, before the wind spirit could launch an attack, the skeleton general struck first. White sword energy flashed through the cave, instantly tearing the wind spirit apart. Facing the skeleton general's attack, it seemed to have no ability to fight back at all. But the next second, this torn-apart wind spirit gathered together again, flying towards the skeleton general. During its flight, it constantly scattered and gathered, changing between scattering and gathering, giving the feeling of teleportation. Lin Moyu ordered the skeleton general to dodge. The skeleton general quickly retreated along the narrow passage towards other areas. The skeleton general retreated very fast. The wind spirit wasn't as fast as the skeleton general and couldn't catch up no matter what. After chasing for a while, the wind spirit suddenly stopped, no longer pursuing. Not only did it stop chasing, but the wind spirit also returned the way it came, back to where it first appeared. Lin Moyu had the skeleton general attack the wind spirit again, scattering it a second time. The wind spirit chased again. The skeleton general continued to retreat. At the same spot as last time, the wind spirit stopped again, then returned to its own territory. At this point, the skeleton general quickly caught up, attacking again before it could return. The wind spirit chased again, but when it reached the same spot as before, it suddenly stopped, then flew back towards its initial location. After this experiment, Lin Moyu figured out the wind spirit's movement pattern. The wind spirit's range of action was actually limited. Usually, it just stayed in its own territory, not going anywhere. Even when chasing someone, it wouldn't go beyond 1,000-meter distance. Once it reached 1,000 meters, the wind spirit would return, even if attacked midway. It still wouldn't go beyond 1,000 meters from its territory. The wind spirits seem to have their own rules. Who set these rules for the wind spirits? Strictly speaking, wind spirits are not living beings. Although they have soul flames, they don't have any consciousness, only some simple instincts. The only trouble is how to kill them. Ordinary attacks are ineffective, and the soul flame can freely gather and scatter. So let's try a soul attack. To use a soul attack, there were two methods. One was for Lin Moyu to go personally and use Skeleton Hell, using the Hell's Eye to launch a soul attack. The other was the Skeleton King's White Bone God Slayer, which invoked the Bloody White Bone Great Tao and could launch a dual attack on both body and soul. Lin Moyu had a thought, and a Skeleton King appeared beside him. The cave was too small. Even shrunk to its smallest size, the Skeleton King still touched the ceiling and floor, finding it very difficult to even stand. With the Skeleton King's appearance, the Skeleton Generals immediately shared the White Bone God Slayer. A Skeleton General approached again, raising its bone sword. Technique: White Bone God Slayer. The Bloody White Bone Great Tao appeared. Following its attack, numerous small, white bone swords flew out, accompanied by a sword light, tearing apart the wind spirit. Unsurprisingly, the wind spirit was scattered, but the next second it returned to its original state. Useless. Lin Moyu was a bit surprised. The Skeleton General quickly retreated, escaping beyond 1,000 meters to avoid the wind spirit's chase. Even soul attacks were ineffective. Lin Moyu was getting a headache. At this point, the exploration of the cave had come to a standstill. The Skeleton Generals had explored over 10,000 routes, but wind spirits appeared on every route, blocking the Skeleton General's path. Even soul attacks were ineffective. Lin Moyu knew that relying on Skeleton Generals alone probably wouldn't work against these wind spirits. He had a thought, and more Skeleton Generals rushed over. Since you're blocking the way, I'll force my way through. Hundreds and thousands of Skeleton Generals charged towards the same path. Lin Moyu didn't believe that a few wind spirits could kill so many Skeleton Generals. The appearance of the Skeleton Generals attracted the wind spirits' attention, and they immediately pounced to kill. The Skeleton General possessed by a wind spirit quickly fell into mortal danger. Lin Moyu had a thought, and that Skeleton General voluntarily died, its body automatically crumbling. Seeing the Skeleton General die, the wind spirit didn't continue to possess it but pounced towards another. The just deceased Skeleton General took this moment to revive and then continued forward. It really works. Lin Moyu laughed inwardly. The wind spirits had no intelligence, so he used suicide to trick them. The Skeleton Generals might not be able to kill the wind spirits, but in front of suicidal Skeleton Generals, the wind spirits were also run ragged. This was the disadvantage of having no intelligence. As long as there was no intelligence, there were many ways to deal with them. The key was that Lin Moyu currently didn't want to risk himself. At least before the map was fully explored, he didn't want to go. Otherwise, if he used Skeleton Hell, Lin Moyu believed he could certainly solve these wind spirits. A vast number of Skeleton Generals broke through the wind spirits' territory, continuing to explore the cave. The caves in Riftwind Cliff were incredibly complex, with countless forks, twists and turns, and most were dead ends. As they went deeper, Lin Moyu found that the wind spirits were getting stronger and gradually increasing in number. Stronger wind spirits had more corrosive power. Once a skeleton general was possessed, it wouldn't last even a second. Finally, a skeleton general rushed into a relatively spacious cavern. A treasure entered its vision, along with dozens of wind spirits. This skeleton general was quickly possessed by a wind spirit and subsequently died. The skeleton general's vision was quite peculiar and couldn't see too many details. To see clearly, Lin Moyu would have to go personally. The first treasure. If Wu family members find this place, this treasure would be their gain. But for me, this treasure doesn't mean much. Lin Moyu knew his purpose for coming here. First was for the Hell Fragment, second was to help the three ancestors find the wind opening. A treasure wasn't something Lin Moyu cared about. One cavern after another was found, most containing treasures. The only problem was that the number of wind spirits was also very high, ranging from dozens to hundreds. These weren't what Lin Moyu wanted. He needed to find the truly correct path. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thank you so much, George, Alvin, JJYU15, and Saqib bin Mojib. You all are real ones for helping me continue with this book. I truly appreciate your support more than words can express. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3460, 3460. Chapter 3460, Riftwind Cliff came from the outer realm. Lin Moyu was very patient. He could send out more skeleton generals, and he wouldn't move at all until he found the correct path. More and more caverns were discovered. According to the map forming in his mind, Lin Moyu felt increasingly that something wasn't right. These caverns seem like dead ends, but looking at their distribution, it looks like a formation. And the entire Riftwind Cliff looks more like a fortress. Outside the caverns are carved prehistoric characters, meaning 68. What does this 68 mean? Lin Moyu searched in his mind for all information related to Riftwind Cliff. At the same time, in his rule world, his avatar beside the human emperor said, "Human Emperor, help me analyze the possible origins of Riftwind Cliff." As his cultivation level increased, his thinking speed had become astonishingly fast. He could understand most problems with just a casual thought, and he rarely troubled the human emperor anymore. But now, he felt that the existence of Riftwind Cliff was unusual. The human emperor received Lin Moyu's request and immediately began analyzing. Lin Moyu always maintained information sharing with the human emperor. All information Lin Moyu knew would be conveyed to the human emperor through his avatar. The human emperor had already built an incredibly amazing database internally, with very strong analytical capabilities. After a round of analysis, the human emperor quickly came to a conclusion. Lin Moyu also reached an answer through self-reflection at about the same time. Riftwind Cliff was not a product originally possessed by the origin continent. If it wasn't originally possessed by the origin continent, then there was only one possibility: Riftwind Cliff fell from the sky. During the Great Battle of the Origin Catastrophe, battlefields were spread throughout the entire world. There were battlefields in the origin continent, and also in the outer Great Tao. Even now, in the layers of special space between the origin continent and the outer Great Tao, there were still many remnants from the outer realm. If an outer realm relic fell down back then, crashing into the origin continent, it would actually be quite normal. Riftwind Cliff looked like a war fortress, its strength no less than 9 heavens peak. If it were a war fortress from the origin continent, then Dongfang Duantian would definitely know about it, and there would be records of it in the history of the origin continent, just like 9 heavens peak. But there were no records of it at all, which could only mean it wasn't something that should be on the origin continent. Moreover, the time it fell should have been after the origin catastrophe, but not too long after. It should have fallen during the gap period after the catastrophe. The answers from the human emperor and Lin Moyu were surprisingly consistent. Although no one could be 100% certain, it was basically confirmed. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, looking at it this way, the treasures in these caverns were the source of power for this fortress back then. Using the power of treasures to drive the war fortress, then using formations for amplification, and finally controlled by a powerful being, the combat power of this war fortress must have been terrifyingly strong. But how did the Wu family obtain the treasures from such a war fortress? Could it be, all paths leading to the caverns were blocked by wind spirits? Normally, the Wu family's ancestors shouldn't have been able to enter and obtain the treasures. But they did obtain them, not only getting the treasures but also receiving powerful inheritances, ultimately allowing the Wu family to develop and grow strong. So there was only one other possibility: someone allowed the Wu family to obtain the treasures and also gave them inheritances. Such a person would either be a great Dao realm being who survived the origin catastrophe, or a powerful treasure from this war fortress that developed a spirit and gained consciousness. The reason for thinking this was precisely because of the heaven-seeking seal. I've basically figured it out. Now I just need to wait for the answer to be revealed. After understanding the cause and effect, Lin Moyu's entire being became transparent, his thoughts clear, feeling very comfortable. Solving mysteries was a very fun thing. Every time an unknown mystery was solved, it was like clearing an extremely difficult dungeon in the past, giving an indescribable sense of achievement. Thousands of caverns of various sizes had been found. Following the shape formed by these caverns, plus Lin Moyu's understanding of formations, he already knew how to walk the final path. Lin Moyu, who had been standing for most of the day, finally started moving. With the map guiding him, Lin Moyu wouldn't take the wrong path and moved very quickly. His first stop was one of the caverns. According to his understanding of formations, he needed to go to these caverns first and take away all the treasures. Without the treasures, the power of the entire formation would weaken. In the end, whether facing a great Dao realm being who survived from prehistoric times or the heaven-seeking seal, if they wanted to harm him, it would be easier for him to deal with. After walking for a while, Lin Moyu encountered the first wind spirit guarding the path. He pointed his finger, skeleton hell. If ordinary attacks and soul attacks were ineffective against wind spirits, then he would directly use skeleton hell. Hell fiends pounced on the wind spirit, tearing it into pieces in a few bites. The next second, the wind spirit began to gather again, reappearing. Lin Moyu keenly noticed that after regathering, the wind spirit was 3 parts weaker than before. The wind spirit was damaged. Skeleton hell is effective. Unlike the attacks of the skeleton generals earlier, which couldn't hurt the wind spirits at all. At least the hell fiends could hurt the wind spirits, devouring 3 parts of them while tearing them apart. After a few more times like this, the wind spirits would be killed. After regathering, the wind spirit immediately counterattacked. It possessed a hell fiend, which screamed and sank into the lava. The wind spirit immediately detached from its possessed state and regathered. The wind spirits looked formless and intangible, but they weren't truly so. In the lava, they had nowhere to hide. Skeleton hell could be said to perfectly counter the wind spirits. After quickly dealing with one wind spirit, Lin Moyu continued forward. His speed became faster and faster. One wind spirit after another was easily devoured by skeleton hell, unable to cause any trouble. As he personally went deeper, he gradually saw clearly the changes in the wind spirits. Power and number were just superficial. The real change was the aura contained within the wind spirits. As the wind spirits' power grew stronger, their great Dao aura became more and more obvious. The power of the wind spirits naturally came from the wind great Dao. They could be said to be aggregates of the wind great Dao. But within the wind spirits, there was another power that Lin Moyu was very familiar with, power from hell. The wind spirits were related to the hell fragment, so they had characteristics similar to hell fiends, able to devour all things. Compared to his own skeleton hell, the devouring power possessed by the wind spirits was more primitive and brutal. This hell fragment seems to be quite large. Lin Moyu thought to himself. If the hell fragment has already evolved to a certain degree, then it might be troublesome. He wasn't worried about other things. He was worried that if the hell fragment had developed self-awareness, that would be the real big trouble. It might be much more troublesome than a great Dao realm being surviving until now. He prepared for the worst, thinking of ways to deal with it, and unknowingly arrived in front of the first cavern. He saw the powerful treasure in the cavern, along with thousands of wind spirits. Skeleton Hell automatically appeared, quickly clearing out the wind spirits. Lin Moyu stepped into the cavern, divine light flashing in his eyes as he examined the situation inside. One divine rune after another appeared from his eyes. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a